First time, but I will tell you, here it is. Miriam Freeman of the Bronx, New York, was kind enough to send me all the rules and regulations from her bank, which happens to be Citibank in New York City. And I have a suspicion that this is true in a lot of places. Wow, they spend more money on material. If you have checks for over $5,000, they have a whole list of zones. Get your fee. They define business days and next business days and who the checks come from and so forth. And if you're in a certain zone, it takes an extra 6 days, an extra 5 days, an extra 3 days for everything from $5,001 or more deposited in the same business day, unless the checks are under $49.99, then they're automatically available for withdrawal the following business day. And, of course, if you use a special deposit ticket on certain... This is like playing Monopoly. I never heard of such a thing. Now, maybe all this is necessary. And they say this happens to be the brochure from Citibank dated September 1st, 1988, but I suspect that many other banks have the same types of regulations. Maybe some don't enforce them as vigorously as they might. But wow, I mean, you have to be a Rhodes Scholar and at least have an advanced degree in banking to understand this stuff. Now, maybe it's necessary, but I'll be damned if I can see why. Burlington, Iowa. Hello there. Welcome to Talknet.
Hi, Bruce. Thanks for taking my call.
Thank you.
I got a chain letter, and usually I throw these things away, but this one seemed like it might be worth investing the dollar that they're asking for here.
Here we go.
Here, it's for women only also.
Oh, naturally. How are they going to know how your gender is?
Well, I don't know. A friend of mine sent it to me, and it says, and the chain letter says from the person who created it, I ignore these letters normally, but this one is, beneficial. I don't know. It's too long for me to read the whole thing.
Tell me how it's beneficial.
Well, they're saying that if you put $1 in a blank piece of paper and set it to the first name on the list, and then you add your name to the list and omit that person when you send your 10 copies off to 10 friends of yours, 10 female friends, add your name to the bottom of the list, send a letter and the list to 10 prospects, women only, mail the letter within 48 hours, and do not break the pattern. And if the pattern is not broken, there's no way it can't work.
Well, that's true.
And that most women receive $7,000.
No, wait a minute. That's another story. But if they say if no one breaks it,
that it'll work.
It'll work. That's true. That's completely accurate. But what's the fallacy there is somebody's going to break it.
So, I mean, should I throw this? I'm just thinking to myself, normally I would throw.
Well, what? No, hold on. Now, what's your first name?
Val.
Pardon?
Val.
Val, what makes this any different from any other chain letter?
Well, I guess the other ones haven't involved the idea of getting money.
Sure they do. A lot of them do.
Well, this is the only one I've ever received.
Well, stick around. You'll get more.
Okay.
But the point is, just because they're sending it to females only, so what?
I think they're trying to, the title, there's a title at the top of the note, and it says, "To the women friends in my life who know how to dream and create their own reality." Oh, how nice. Man, that just tugs at the old heartstrings, doesn't it? And they're saying that, they're saying you could get as much as $10,000, and that it was started by a woman in Nashville, Tennessee, to acquire investment capital. And now she owns Nashville, Tennessee. So, what do you think of this? What do you think, Val? I think of that. You think it's garbage, probably. Well, of course, has sucker written all over it. Okay. Except for the woman in Nashville, Tennessee. Because she was at the top of the list, didn't have to send any dollars. Right. They say over and over in this letter that it's not illegal, and that. Well, of course not. The chain letters aren't illegal. Of course it's illegal. Yeah. Of course it's illegal. Now, do I think that the feds are going to come rapping on Val's door tomorrow morning? No. Clearly not. Okay. But is it illegal? Val, you'd rapidly run out of people in the whole world if no one broke the chain. Just sit down with your little calculator and do the permutations. One gets you're one person, right? Right. You got to get 10, right? Right. Each of the 10 got to get 10. That's 100. Each of those 10 got to get a 10. That's 1,000. Each of those 10 got to get that's 10,000. Now at the next level, it's 100,000, right? Right. Well, how many people in Burlington, Iowa? Oh, about 40,000.
Well, we just shut them down a long time ago, and we only use half of them because we're only going for the females.
Right.
And then only the adults, so now we were down to about 15. We got rid of all the women in Burlington, Iowa. They're at the second or third level.
Uh-huh.
I wish you well, sweetheart.
Well, thanks for taking my call.
It's a pleasure.
Bye-bye.
Oh, no. Chain letters, they're stupid, except for the people who start them. Morgantown, West Virginia. Hello.
Greetings, Bruce. I'm a first-time caller with what'll probably be a pretty easy question for you, but I would value your advice on a situation that basically has been evolving for, a little over a year now.
My goodness.
I rent an apartment in the house, the basement of a house that my landlord owns, and I've been on and off again over this past year, just kind of dropping hints and maybe not quite as forthright as I should that it's about time for a new fridge because the one that is in here now has been here since I moved in almost 12 years ago. Mm-hmm. So anyway, to make a long story short, my question to you is I'm just wondering if there are any negatives or drawbacks to my plan of going out and just telling my landlord, by the way, I'm looking at frost-free refrigerators at 2 local distributors, and I would like to just, in lieu of paying you my monthly rent for the next couple months, I'm going to have a refrigerator delivered to my apartment here within the next few days. And
well, you can say that. He's liable to say, I don't know how we'll get along without you, but starting next week we're going to try because you can't do that.
Uh-huh. Well, that's why I wanted to call you and see. Now, just let me also interject, Bruce. I do not have a lease with this gentleman.
Yeah.
So
he kick you out in 30 days. You can leave in 30 days.
Okay. He could still kick me out if he doesn't like this, whether there's a no lease situation or
Of course he can, and you in turn can leave.
Okay.
But how much do you pay in rent?
Well, this is going to amaze you and a lot of other people in the country. It's very inexpensive.
How much?
$110 a month.
Well, he's liable to just think that $110 a month you'll get along with an older refrigerator.
Mm-hmm.
And you in turn just might have to go buy one yourself.
Right. Yeah. That's a possibility.
I mean, that's another problem. I don't think does the fridge work?
Yes, it works. Not as well as I would like, obviously, but yes, it works.
I doubt seriously if you get very far with that ploy.
Think so?
Not at $100 a month. How much does the fridge cost?
The ones that I'm considering in the neighborhood, a little shy of $400.
You think he's going to give up 4 months' rent? I don't think so. I just don't think it's going to happen. I think he's going to say, look, okay, we'll give you your fridge. Now you're paying $250 a month rent.
Yeah, that's all. Yeah, I've considered that. That's a definite possibility too.
At $110 a month, I wouldn't make a lot of racket if I were you.
Yeah, just keep my mouth shut. And
if you need a fridge, go buy one. I do wish you well, Tiger. I'm Bruce Williams. This is Talknet. Lansing, Michigan. How you doing, Guy?
I'm very well, thank you. How are you, Bruce?
Well, thank you. What's up?
I'm a first-time caller, but I am a constant listener, and don't quite know where to start with my idea.
Let's talk.
I am one of those short ladies whose shoulder harness cuts right across the middle of my throat, and I put about 1,000 miles a week on my car.
A tad uncomfortable.
Yes, very.
Maybe a little seat, something that kind of boost you up in the seat department might be of some assistance here.
Well, I'm also wide, and you don't adjust so much. Anyway, what I did with the seat belt on my car, I made a little adjustment that works very well. It moved it over 4 inches without reducing any of the safety. Mm-hmm. A couple of my friends complained about similar things, and they've adapted it for their car, and they thought it was such a good idea that I should, put it to a car manufacturer. I don't know how to go about this.
Well, first of all, what did you do? I don't mean specifically. Did you have a little gadget that you put on the seat belt? Or?
Yes. Mm-hmm. Yeah, all that's involved is punching a couple of holes, rather like for the prong on a belt, in the seat belt, and it can be, the whole seat belt could be done that way, so it's adjustable for anyone.
Seems to me like what you're talking about is something that would probably belong on the aftermarket.
Really? That's what I don't know yet.
The kind of thing that you buy in the auto store.
I didn't.
I said that it sounds to me like it's the kind of thing that would be better sold in an auto store than by the manufacturer of the of the seat belt.
So how would you go about?
Well, you've got. Unfortunately, it's like any other product. It's costly, and you got to gamble. You've got to have some of the gadgets produced.
Yeah.
Have it protected if it is protectable by the patent process. Mm-hmm. Then you got to get it into the stores. Then you got to advertise it to get people to know it exists.
I see.
All of which is a very costly venture.
Yeah, and I move from place to place about every 8 weeks. So, it just seems such a simple adjustment that could come out.
See, the troublesome part of the equation is that I don't think that the manufacturers of seatbelts will speak to you.
Right.
But given the fact that you're probably not going to pursue it unless that happens, you have little to lose by writing a letter or two and saying, I'm perfectly prepared to sign some kind of an agreement where if this has been explored before or I will not hold you responsible, and they could steal it from you. But the point is that otherwise they will return your ideas unopened and unlooked at, unsolicited ideas, because they're afraid that they may have something very similar on the drawing board, and if they look at yours, you'll swear you stole it. It looks to me like they have nothing to lose by writing a letter. Who knows? Lightning might strike. Good luck. I'm Bruce Williams. This is Talknet. Davenport, Iowa. Hello there. Welcome to Talknet.
Hi, Bruce. I was driving home just now from work. I was listening to you about this time on WOC here in Davenport.
In Quad Cities, of course.
Yes, sir. I heard the lady calling in about adjusting her seatbelt.
Mm-hmm.
Beg your pardon?
Go ahead.
And I just had to pull over and ring you up in the hope I could get you. I'm a lawyer here in the Quad Cities, and those seatbelts are engineered by car companies in compliance with very strict performance standards, and they're tested to meet those standards. Some of them, I believe, are even incorporated into the regulations of the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration.
Mm-hmm.
And if you start punching holes in them or monkeying with them, you could seriously impair their performance in the event of an accident. I sure wouldn't want to have one buckled around me that was any way other than the way it came out of the factory.
Well, I think your point is certainly well made. Her position was that, if you recall, she said that it didn't impair the safety of it in any way. But, of course, you could argue very quickly, well, what are her credentials to make that decision?
Yeah, I don't mean to pick on her. I
understand.
I expect there's rafts of engineers over in Detroit who spend a lot of time coming up with them the way they are to...
Well, I think you're probably right, Counselor, but there is another side to that, too. There are, the whole world is designed for 42 regulars, Okay. When you get on an airplane and you're 6 foot, I don't give a damn what the commercials say. They got some basketball player there stretching out. He's not stretching out in any coach section that I've ever had the unfortunate pleasure of riding in,
Sure.
The seats are designed for people with average sized bodies. Seat belts are clearly designed for people with average sized bodies, and in the case of the seat belt, women who are overly endowed or are much shorter than the average bear clearly are very uncomfortable.
You bet.
And the same thing is true on an airplane. If you're 6'2" or 6'3" and you got to ride in coach, you're in deep trouble. Because they still think the average person is 160 pounds. I don't know where the hell they get their stats from.
There's a lot of demographic data that's compiled and engineering objectives to percentiles and what have you. You can't fit Wilt Chamberlain and the world's smallest person with every product that might be mass-produced out there.
Well, that's true.
You try and hit the bigger part of the bell curve, but
and unfortunately, there's a lot of us that fall outside that stupid. We're more than one standard deviation away.
Sure. I'm sympathetic to her situation. I just would like to think there's a better way for her to get it redressed, because you just don't know.
Well, what is that better way?
Well, I don't know what to recommend to her, but I'd a lot rather be in screaming and hollering at a dealer than punching holes in a piece of safety equipment that was engineered by a car company.
I hear you, Counselor. Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Thanks a lot. Enjoy your program immensely.
Thanks, babe.
Nice talking to you.
You know, but I'm wondering, maybe with all of the hoopla about airplanes, God knows I spend a lot of time on them, maybe they ought to have a section, 3, 4, 5 rows, where you got to be over 6'2" to sit in that, or maybe make it 6 foot or 6'1", whatever it is. And they give you an extra 4 or 5 or 6 inches of leg room. I mean, you sit there, and, Stu Bell is in there, and how tall are you, Stu? About 6'5", 6'4", something like 6'4"? There's no way in the world you're going to fit in the coach seat and be comfortable on any kind of a long ride. I mean, that's absurd. And what really aggravates me, and I can understand the reason why, they oftentimes save the bulkheads for families. And you'll see some little kid sitting there who doesn't need the leg room, has the bulkhead where the most leg room is. Now, that makes a whole bunch of sense, too. If there's anybody who's listening here from American or Continental or Delta or Eastern or Northwest, United, maybe you'd like to comment. Why not a couple 3 or 4 rows with some extra leg room for people who are a little bit taller than they still do the computation in terms of weight and balance. They used in 1950, 160 pounds and 7 and a fraction pounds of carry-on. Well, you can believe when you see most people walking on carrying but the kitchen sink that 7 pounds is out of the question. And how many of us weigh 160 pounds today? Thank you very much. I'm Bruce Williams. This is Talknet. We just left the Quad Cities, and we go right back now from Davenport to Rock Island, Illinois. Hello
Hi,
there.
Bruce.
Hi.
I haven't written to you since I sent you a get well card in your air accident.
Boy, that's a long time ago, but
Yes.
I do thank you.
I'm sure glad you recovered so nicely.
Thank
in
you.
1979, my son is 6.5 feet tall, and we flew to Hong Kong, and if you don't think he wasn't miserable.
Oh, boy.
So on the way back, before he left, he called the travel agent there, and they put him up where he had plenty of room.
Where was that?
Right up by where the front door opens.
Okay, there are a couple of seats if you know the seats on airplanes.
Mm-hmm.
If you know your airplanes, there are certain seats with a little bit more leg room, but
Made all the difference in the world.
there just ought to be a few extra rows designed for bigger people.
Well, we're not all standard size.
That's true.
Either wide or tall.
That's also.
Yeah.
I see some folks getting on, and I got to wonder how they. And in terms of I'm not real broad across the beam, and I'm pretty snug. But I'm 6'2", but I see some folks getting on there with a little larger than average derrieres,
Pear-shaped.
and you wonder how in the world they ever squeeze into those seats.
Okay, now for my problem.
Shoot.
I have a Medicare supplement policy with a well-known company. My policy runs from the 18th of June last year to the 18th of June this year.
Yeah.
So the 8th of June last year, I sent them a policy for the total amount, trying to save money by paying it annually.
I mean a premium, you mean?
Yeah, my premium. So about 6 weeks ago, I got a letter that due to the Medicare changes, I had to pay $59.20 to carry me up to the June 18th, at which time my policy, my premium went up by $239. Now, can they change that contract in the middle of the contract?
You have to look at the contract to find
Well,
out.
it says here that our state insurance commissioner gave them permission, gave them the authority to raise that. Is that fair?
Now, wait a minute. You just asked 2 separate questions.
Okay.
Is it fair? Well, fair is a very subjective
Is
term.
it legal, is what
Well,
I mean.
apparently it's legal if you're a commissioner, allowed them to do it, yes.
Mhm.
Whether it's fair is a whole different program. We have a real insurance mess in this country.
Boy, you can say that again.
And it's, let's face it, we can't do without health
No,
insurance.
and that's what makes it so scary.
And the prices are rapidly becoming difficult for many of us to handle.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know the answer to that. I wish I did.
We got our Medicare checks today, and the amount they take out went down a little, but it's going to take a lot more to offset this up to $843 a year.
I hear you. But, when you take a look at the costs of hospitalization.
Yes, and we have too many people that are getting, that we're paying for them.
That don't pay at all.
That's what I mean, freeloaders.
That's another program.
Yeah.
That's another program.
Well, I just wondered if I had any recourse whatsoever because I was frustrated and I knew the place to go was to your doorstep.
Well, I I doubt it seriously, and I don't want to see you get an ulcer over that because that'll just drive that'll drive medical payments up even more.
That's for sure. Well, say hello to your puppy dog.
Hey, he's sitting right here snoring up a storm.
Good.
Thanks very much. Yeah, Mickey more famous than me. I mean, it's amazing. More people know about Mickey. Well, maybe that means either Mickey's famous or I'm not. I guess the latter is probably where it comes from. But more people recognize Mick now. And I walk in the building now. Where's your sidekick? If I don't bring him along, I mean, getting to be he's fun to be with. Dallas, Texas, your turn.
Well, yes, Bruce. My husband and I have ordered a new motorhome.
Wow, a motorhome, an RV, huh?
Yes, and it's not going to be here until the end of June.
All right.
Well, we have a motorhome that we're trading in, and they have asked us to go ahead and give it to them because now is like their prime time selling season for even a used vehicle.
Mm-hmm.
We don't really have a problem with that, but what kind of insurance do we have that they're going to pay off our old motorhome right away, or do we continue making the payments?
Oh no! If they want to trade it in, I think that your deal with them ought to be okay, but you're going to have to pay off the lien in the thing now for the obvious reasons. You are still on the hook. They liable to let somebody test drive it or who knows what. You want to be out from under that thing completely.
Right. So we totally transfer title and everything to them now.
Yeah, now you're now we another little caveat there. I'm assuming this is a solid dealership. You have no worry about them.
I don't believe so. They've been in business here for, I don't know, maybe 20 years or so.
Well, that's not necessarily, it's a pretty good credential, don't misunderstand me. But there, I just want you to be aware of the fact that if they went belly up in that 15 or 20 day period, you'd be in trouble. How much equity do you have in the motorhome?
Maybe $10,000.
Okay, well, you're trusting them with $10,000 of your money.
Right. Plus, we already gave them $2,000 cash as a deposit.
Well, now you're trusting them with $12,000 of your money. But I understand what they're saying. But I would think there ought to be some way that you could be protected with some kind of a bond or something that would guarantee you the money in case something happens.
Do we ask them about that?
I would certainly question them on that point. Say, look, I know we want to cooperate with you. We understand that this is the time you can unload it, and that's fine with us. But there's got to be a way that we can be compensated in case something goes wrong, and clearly it must be paid off right away.
Right.
So that you have entire responsibility for it. We don't have to carry insurance on it anymore and all that sort of thing.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Good luck with your new motorhome.
Sure. Bye-bye.
I'm Bruce Williams. Stick around for more. More Talknet. Southfield, Michigan. Hello there.
Hi, Bruce.
Hi.
I have a comment about your airline thing about 6 feet tall people.
Yeah.
And about how they should have it like the section with bulkheads.
I think they ought to get wherever there's the most seat room ought to be reserved for them.
Okay, the reason that I'm calling is I travel with my small children, and we try to get bulkhead as much as I can.
Yeah.
And the reason we try to get bulkhead is if you've ever traveled with small children, it's really hard to keep them tied down to a seatbelt.
It is?
Well, my children it is.
It wasn't with mine, and I had 5.
Okay, I have 2. But we just try to make it so that when they turn the seatbelt light off, they have some room to move around with. Have you ever been on a flight with crying children?
Well, you're not going to like what I'm going to tell you.
Okay.
My kids didn't cry.
Never?
They didn't squirm. I got news for you. I wouldn't permit it. I was a tough parent. I used to pride myself in the fact that my boys, I think I have a good relationship with my kids. My oldest son, Matthew, is my business partner. My daughter's my business manager. Another kid I'm working with. So I think they've all returned to the responsible adults, okay? But when my kids were 3 years old, my boys, my two oldest boys, Matt and Mark, I could walk into a store, put them in a chair, and leave comfortably and come back in an hour, and I knew they'd be sitting in that chair because I told them to sit.
Well,
that's fact.
I mean, I
just didn't put up with that crap, but I really rail at parents who, I fly a great deal, right?
Right.
And no, I don't want your rugrat running around the airplane.
Right.
But I just think that parents have a responsibility to raise their kids. You will sit there. And furthermore, it's grossly irresponsible, in my opinion, to allow them to sit there with a seatbelt on. I mean, I ride in the airplane unless I'm going up to the head or it's some reason to be out of my seat. I've got the seatbelt on. Why? Because clear air turbulence can rattle you right across the fuselage. I would never let a kid sit there without a seatbelt on. Not for a minute.
Okay.
Because it's not safe. I mean, I was a pilot for quite a while. And it's just not safe. It simply isn't safe to sit in an airplane without your seatbelt on. If you don't have to. Now, if you're a flight attendant or if you're going to the bathroom or a number of reasons, if you're on a bar flight where they have a pub, as a couple of planes still do, that's okay. You take your shot. But if my kid was sitting there, I mean, look at the things they do today. How old are your children?
4 and 2.
Okay, now you have to have all kinds of fancy seats in the car, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which they didn't have when my children were being raised.
And do you notice that they still lived?
Pardon?
Even with all the laws and everything that happened now, your children still live.
Yeah, but there are kids that died.
Right.
There are our children that died as well. I sympathize with you guys because I see all the paraphernalia you got to carry around, and I sympathize. I truly do. But on the other side of that, if kids become missiles when they're being held in their parents' arms in automobiles or trains or airplanes when there's an accident.
Right.
And I really think the kids will be tired. I understand what you're saying, that there's a little more room up there and the kids can play on the floor and all that sort of jazz.
And it just makes traveling a little bit easier with your kids.
Yeah.
That's why,
but I just think there's a word that a lot of young parents don't seem to. I salute a lot of you guys because I have a good friend who put it very well when his youngster was born here about a year ago. And we were out, I guess, no more than 5 days later, and Jay and Patty grabbed the kids, so let's go. I said, hey, they're portable.
Right.
And I think that's a great idea.
Right.
But I do think that there's a major word that a lot of young parents have lost sight of.
Well, I hope
the word is discipline.
I'm accused as being a grumpy parent, and I always buckle my kids into the car, and I mean, even going down to the store. So I understand what you're saying in that respect. Well,
I'm only saying just buckle in, and I think when you speak to a child and say, boy, sit down.
And be quiet.
And be quiet, that he knows that he better be quiet. And I don't think you suffer from that. As I said, I think my children have grown up to responsible adults. They don't hate their mother and father.
Right, right.
I just think that's required. I understand what in some airlines we won't allow kids in first class, and I salute that.
Yeah.
I think it's incredible to see little kids running around, and you got business people who pay a lot of money to ride up there. They try and get something done.
And they don't need and the little kids don't need the free drinks anyway.
Well, why do you think people ride in first?
I make $12,000 a year, and which I know isn't much, but to me, I've got $400 a month to spend. So I've got an old car.
What does that mean? You have $400 a month to spend?
Well, after bills, after my obligations to this person and that person paying rent.
Boy, you're doing on $12,000. You got
exactly.
You got $5 left over.
Exactly. I know that's kind of strange, but I've got an old Chevy, 75 Chevy I've been building up for the last few years.
But my point is that you're living on very little money.
Yeah, well, $200 a month rent, $100 here, $100 there. It doesn't. I added it up last night on a calculator, and it looks good to buy a used car, and I can afford a $200 a month payment for the simple fact that I'm going to be making so much more gas money.
Mm-hmm.
I'll be making $200 a month in gas money that I'm not making now.
Well, you'd be spending $200. You'd be spending $200 less. You mean?
Yeah, on gas.
Yeah.
See, I'll be breaking even.
All right.
The gas money will go toward the car payment.
The troublesome part of that is with $12,000 a year, a lot of banks are not going to want to loan you any money.
Yeah, I know. That's where the cosigner always comes in.
Yep.
So I've been trying for a few years to get a Visa, and I thought about through the collateralized credit card thing, but I finally got one somehow without that.
Well, fine.
And now I guess my choice is to wait about 6 months and build up some credit.
I would think so.
Yeah.
I would think so. But you are managing your money a whole lot better than most folks, I'll tell you that.
Would you think it'd be a bad idea, huh? Be going in over my head?
Well, I don't know that. It sounds to me like if you have the surplus that you're describing, you are an incredible money manager. You really are. $12,000 and have $6,000. Well, no, $4,800, $5,000. How much are you saving right now? Let's go that route just a minute. Maybe this is illusionary.
Okay.
How much you got in the bank?
I have no money in the bank. I have cash.
All right, cash. How much cash you got?
About $300.
Well, that's not very much.
Yeah, I know.
How long you been doing this?
4 years.
Well, there's something wrong with your calculations. Otherwise, you'd have.
Well, that's what I was telling you. I rebuilt my car, though. The car that I have now. Mm-hmm. It's just I'd like to have a second car just for safety reasons.
No, you don't need two cars.
I don't need two cars?
No, sir. No way can you afford two cars, double insurance. How old are you?
I'm 22.
No, and the insurance will murder you. Forget it.
Yeah.
Forget it.
Yeah. I'm just afraid that if my car breaks down, I can't get a ride to work because I need to drive my car at work.
Uh-huh.
So.
But you cannot afford to have two cars. Clearly. That would be suicidal. Garland, Texas, we have about 2 minutes to share together. What's the whole... I don't want you to mention names. You got a letter. Go ahead.
Vancouver, Canada.
You got a letter. What's on it?
An anonymous donor has given me the task of finding you.
Oh, it sounds like that guy from the television 25 years ago.
Yes. If you are the right person, all I can tell you is that $10 million could be yours.
Oh.
And then it says, I'm looking at for you and the address, and it says to establish your identity.
Send us $13.95.
No, well, $20.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And they need a sample of your handwriting and your legal signature.
How about your blood?
Well, maybe that too. Then it goes on to say that if you're not the person I'm looking for, the check will be uncashed and a small free gift for your time and trouble. But says, however, if you are, I will deposit your check and send you the lucky lottery numbers.
Lucky lottery numbers.
Put aside for you.
I've seen this thing that you got.
This is something different.
Well, no, it's not real different.
No, it isn't.
I've seen this one, yeah. And all they're going to do, it's just another swindle.
Okay.
Yeah, they're going to sell you lucky lottery numbers.
Well, you know.
You guarantee you'll be the one they're looking for.
Yes.
Guaranteed.
Okay.
Hey, I mean, the permutations are endless. But
I'm beginning to think so. You can't trust anyone.
Well, no, that's not true. Don't be a cynic.
Well, I'm getting that way.
But this is just another way to extract your money. Good luck. I'm Bruce Williams. This is Talknet. Annapolis, Maryland. Thank you for your patience. What's up?
All right, Bruce. I enjoy your program very much.
Thank you.
And very quickly, what I have, I currently am with an employer who has a contract involving a non-compete clause restricting me from engaging or working, selling, for a competitor or for myself, in a similar line of business within 45 miles of this employer's address and for 3 years from termination. And
termination? What does that mean?
I mean,
if they can you, are you still not allowed to compete?
That's right. According to this contract.
I doubt seriously if that would hold up for a couple of reasons. What do you do? What kind of work do you do?
This is lawn care business.
I think 45 miles is far too big a territory for them to carve out. Secondly, 3 years is too long a period of time. I doubt very seriously, were you to leave them, that they can make this stick.
Right, that's what I felt too. They said restricted me to for 3 years in dealings with any customer of theirs, even in related or similar lines that they don't even work in.
Well, that gets a little more tricky. I think 3 years they're in trouble to begin with. That's good for your side.
Yeah.
You see, when you ask for too much, you get nothing in this area.
Right.
It's not unreasonable for them to say, you cannot go out and solicit business from people whose, let's say, your grass you're cutting right now for a couple of years. That's not unreasonable. To say you can't cut any grass within 45 miles, that's absurd.
Right.
I mean, it's absurd.
Right.
You put a 45-mile swing, well, of course, a lot of it in Annapolis is going to wind up in the water, I guess. But if you were to put up a 45-mile swing, I mean, you'd have millions and millions of people into that swing.
Oh, yes. That's Baltimore, Washington.
Exactly. That's absurd.
Multi-millions.
That's absurd.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think that would stop. I mean, I would be more comfortable, frankly, signing that, if you have to sign it, than one that said 2 years within 3 miles of where you're working, because the chances are that would probably be sustained.
Well, so what you're saying is the 45-mile alone would, in all likelihood, not not make this fly.
Blow the whole thing apart. That's only my opinion. I'm not an attorney.
Yeah, right. I understand. No, I know. Was my opinion. Also.
Are you working there now?
Yes.
And they came up after the fact with this?
Oh, no. This was a contract I've already signed. It's just that I'm considering going into a competing business, and there's a niche that they're not filling.
What kind of business?
This is lawn care,
Well, you mentioned that, but what's the niche, I mean?
Oh, the niche. Well, see, they're going to the Cadillac service plan. This is fertilization, weed, insect, disease control, that sort of thing, not the cutting and that end of it, the business. And so they're selling a Cadillac plan that runs about 3 times what the competition is pricing at for a basic lawn service plan.
All right, and what do you want to do?
I want to go more toward the basic lawn service plan, which is where the multitude...
Yeah, most of us are in that spot.
Yeah.
But you said you found a special niche. That's what I was trying to get to.
Oh, no. It's just that, they insist that I'm a salesman, and as a salesman, they're insisting that we present the Cadillac plan, which is, as I say, roughly triple.
Yeah, and you want to go with a Chevy.
Yeah.
Got you covered. As I said, I'm not an attorney, and you might be wise to have this reviewed by an attorney, but the precedents seem to indicate the courts are coming down on the side of the employee, and when there are unreasonable restrictions, they knock the whole thing out, as it should be. I do wish you well. I'm Bruce Williams. This is Talknet. Hey there, Detroit. Hello there.
Hi, Bruce.
Hi, how are you, baby?
Fine, thanks. A little nervous. First-time caller. The reason I'm calling, we had given some money to a private carpet installer. He works out of his home. A deposit of $300.
Okay, where did you bought the carpet someplace else?
Yes, he was going to install it in
How did you find him?
My sister.
Okay, not through the vendor. That's what I'm getting.
Right.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay. And
what was he going to do?
He was going to install the carpet in our house and take the carpet that we had in our house now and put it in a rental house that we have in Detroit.
Okay.
Okay, and he was going to do this for a certain amount of money. That was about 4 months ago that we gave him the deposit, and he was supposed to install the carpet in May, and he called a date of the installment and said that he would not be able to come, and that
Why?
He really didn't give me any specific reason other than he says that his mother has been sick and he's been going out to see her, and she needs him right now, and this and that. And he said that the deposit would be sent to us in the mail.
Oh, he just deals off completely, huh?
Right. Yeah. And I think, well, anyway, I've been calling him ever since. We still haven't gotten our deposit back, and I'd like to know your advice as to what we can do.
Huh. How much money's he got of yours? $300?
$300.
Well, have you gone wrapped on his wood?
No.
Why don't you do that?
Well, because I don't... because I'm not sure what kind of a person he is. I don't know if he's good.
Then send your husband over. You said we. I assume that you're a married lady.
Yes.
Well, that's what husbands are for.
I guess we could.
What do you mean? Is there any reason why you could not?
Well, I'd never thought to do that. I guess because I don't know. I guess because I was just afraid. I don't know what kind of person he is. I don't know if he would get violent or what. I don't.
If he gets violent, your husband walks away.
Yeah. Well, it does to me. I mean, we've called him numerous times.
Yes, but
and
don't you realize how easy it is to hang up on somebody and say the heck with it?
Well, he keeps telling us that he's already put it in the mail. He hasn't been mean about it or anything. But I don't think he has any intentions of paying it back.
Well, he probably doesn't have any money either, baby. But the point is, it's so easy to tell people the check's in the mail. And I mean, my mother fell and broke her leg, and they had to shoot her, and whatever it happens to be.
Yeah.
It's much more difficult to do that in person. Now, a lot of people, and you're one of them, like to avoid confrontation, don't you?
Right.
You don't want to get your fingers dirty.
Right.
That's all right, but you want to? Is it $300 worth that you don't want to get? If that's the case, forget it. Let them keep the $300.
Okay, I guess we could do that then.
Well, you can do that, but what I'm trying to get to, you see, is sometimes you got to do something more than the easy thing of picking up a telephone.
Mm-hmm.
And before
Couldn't we just like
what?
Would that be a case like, say, for court or something?
Yeah, but why would you want to go through that if you don't have to?
Well, I mean, if
he
going over his
refuses,
house doesn't work.
In that case, you can go to small claims court, of course. But then you still got to go back and try to collect if you get the judgment.
Yeah.
It's not an automatic. I just go see the guy.
Okay.
And if you don't have to go, send your husband and one of his friends. You just go politely and say, "Look, I'm here for my check. Must have got lost in the mail. I'm here to pick up the check."
Well, we'll try that.
Take good care.
Thank you.
So easy to hang up on people. So easy to ignore letters. Hard to ignore the guy rapping on a wood. Georgetown, Massachusetts, thanks for your call. What's on your mind?
Bruce, how are you? Bruce, I got probably a standard business question for you. Give you a little background, 30 seconds worth. My wife and I were married in '84. She was at the time a paralegal for a very large law firm in Boston.
Mm-hmm.
Had our first child 3 years later, in '87.
All right. You've had 7 since then. That makes, 8 kids, right?
Yeah, well, 2. And right now 2, and that's about it.
Okay, go ahead.
Well, anyway, to make the long story very short, she did not want to make the commute anymore into the city and decided to open up her own business, a paralegal support business. I didn't really know what that meant at the time.
What does it mean?
Well,
that makes 2 of us.
Yeah, it basically meant that she was going to try to take a lot of work home from this large firm that had a lot of overflow work.
Mm-hmm.
She was miserable going into the city every day, and she wanted to stay home with the kids, so I supported her 100%.
All right, but so where are we going?
So we're going that it really took off. She got a lot of work. I quickly was, by the process of baptism by fire, learned how to do a lot of paralegal work.
Huh.
And 3 years later, we have this small business that generates about $50,000 a year. And we pretty much...
$50,000 your end?
Our end, yeah.
Okay, and you're both working at it?
It's a mom-and-pop shop.
Okay.
And I also have another job, too.
Oh, you do have a full-time job?
I have a full-time job myself.
Oh, I kind of got the feeling you'd given up your job.
No.
Sounds good to me.
It's a nice second income. We both work at it. Essentially, to answer your question on what is the paralegal support business, we pretty much do a lot of running around. I think I could qualify us as a kind of a research courier service for various business closings.
Legal gophers.
Legal gophers. And we charge it, at a per diem or per hour rate, depending upon the job. So anyway, here's where we're at. We have basically one very, very good client, very steady, about, I'd say $25,000, $30,000 a year, and 2 smaller ones, and about the 3 of them we make about $50,000 a year.
And that's it? Just 3 clients?
Yeah. So here we are. We both kind of over the 3 years have found ourselves running this business, and I guess we're just wondering if we really push this thing, what could happen. I guess
push it and find out.
Well, that's the question for you. I'm not really sure where to push. I'm not really sure how to go about pushing. We really don't have much capital to put out and.
How much? Wait a minute. Let's. How much are you earning on your side job?
My side is about 38.
So you got $88,000 a year coming in.
Yeah, about that. Yeah.
Well, you ought to have some capital. Where are you spending all your money?
Have you checked out rents up here yet?
How much are the rents?
Our rent is $1,200. 2 kids, own a property.
That's $14,000.
Yeah, we ran out of property and subsidized that. And
what do you mean you rent out a property and subsidize that?
Well, we also own a property too, a condominium that we.
Oh, you get stuck with it.
We got stuck with that, and so we rent that out.
How much are you losing on that?
I lose about $125, $150.
Well, it still hasn't explained where all the money's going.
Babysitting is another, probably $8,000 a year.
What else?
A couple car payments.
What I'm trying to get to is maybe one of the things is a sidebar of this conversation. that you might want to consider taking a look at your budget, because you have a substantial income and you say you haven't got any money.
That's about it.
Well, then maybe you want to take a look. I'm just suggesting to you.
Sure.
That you might want to take a look at your budget. Now, let me ask this of you, and it may be a hard question, if not an impossible question. In fact, let me go get caught up on a piece of business here.
Sure, I'll hang on to the other.
All right. I'm Bruce Williams. Stick around. I want to find out a little bit more about this business. This is Talknet. I'm chatting with a gentleman in Massachusetts, in Georgetown. His wife started a paralegal support business, meaning doing off-site paralegal work, and it's working out real well. They're knocking out $50,000 a year, plus he has a full-time job, and he's saying, well, should we do something else with this? Now, suppose you were to try to expand it. What would you have to do to accomplish that?
Well, that's the $60,000 question, I guess. Here.
I mean, are you turning? Let's start with this. Are you turning down work? Has anybody come to you and said, no, I can't handle it?
No, we haven't really turned down work.
All right, that's just a simple question.
Yeah.
Have you gone out and solicited other work?
We have solicited on the basis of running into someone that says maybe you should pass your name off to so-and-so.
No, you haven't gone out and actively solicited.
Not actively, no.
What makes you believe that you'll find more clients?
On the basis of our conversations with clients that we now
You've
have.
only got 3 clients.
Yeah.
That's not a very broad base, and that's another problem here.
No, it's a big problem.
If you lose one customer, you're in deep trouble. If you lose a certain customer, you're in serious trouble.
That's right. That's right.
It would seem to me it would cost you little or nothing for one or the other of you to go out in the daytime and do some soliciting. To see if, in fact, there really is more business out there.
Now, with solicitation in mind, are you a fan of face-to-face solicitations or direct mail or telephone solicitation?
Yes to all of the above.
Okay.
One doesn't necessarily supplant the other, does it?
No, it doesn't.
Not for where I'm sitting.
Yeah.
Direct mail doesn't supplant radio. Radio doesn't supplant newspapers. And none of them supplant direct mailing. They are all tools that you want in your arsenal.
Right.
I try them all, see what works.
And we haven't really tried, and I guess I just needed to bounce it off you.
I don't see where you have to commit yourself for a whole lot. You're not going to go out and rent a big office space or anything. But try some. I'd go out, for example, why not have your wife go out 2 hours a day to just call on lawyers' offices?
Right.
For a month.
And just see what happens.
And see what happens, right. There's no cost there, other than you'll have to work a little bit more at night to catch up on what she may be doing in the daytime.
Yeah, that would be 20 hours in a month.
But she's the full-time employee, right?
Right, yeah.
Let her go out and try it.
Yeah. So 20 hours in a month, if you put in 20 hours in a month and you got a client, that's a pretty good payoff.
Let's find out if you can get a client in every 20 hours, or 30, or 40, whatever the number.
I've looked at 5 or 6. I like the concept of the vestment. I guess that's one of the negatives is that once you sign up an account, it takes about 100 days to get billing cycle started, and you can get paid for about 100 days.
It would have little appeal to me.
Yeah.
Little appeal to me.
So you basically would the traditional type of business.
Yeah, I'm afraid so. I mean, I don't have any problem with innovation, but that's not the kind of innovation that would do much for me.
Yeah. Well, like I said, I've been toying with the idea for several weeks, and I tried to get you to.
You know what's interesting, and I must let you go.
Yes, sir.
Is, boy, their presentations make this look like, and not just this, but the presentations some of these guys put together you almost feel eager, don't you?
Yeah, yeah.
Boy.
Now, you hear about people making a lot of money.
Well, yeah, but you hear about them. From them, you hear about them.
Yeah.
You don't see, that's another story altogether. I wish you well,
The bottom line is, are they around 2 or 3, 5 years from now? Yeah.
Are they? And the other part of that line is, did they really make this money, or is this just somebody's fantasy?
Yeah, that's true.
Take good care.
All right, thanks, Bruce.
The testimonials, my brother-in-law did this, my father-in-law did something else, that in itself makes me a little bit nervous. I'm Bruce Williams. Stick around. This is Talknet. Madison, Wisconsin. Hello.
Hi.
Hello there.
Hey, I wasn't expecting to get through to you, so I'm trying to
got all my information for you, I hope.
You didn't figure it was going to work, huh?
Yeah, really.
This thing's really a fraud, yeah.
Yeah.
What's up?
Well, what's up is I am going probably through a divorce, and what I'm doing is applying for a credit card. And I guess.
All right. When you say you're going through a divorce, you and your wife are split city at this point?
Yes.
All right. You're maintaining a separate household?
I have the house,
and
I have the house payment.
All right. And do you have a credit card? You're saying you're applying for a credit card.
I have one, but I would like to get another one to pay it off. That makes sense.
No, it doesn't really.
Well, what I'd like to do is ultimately be able to pay off the one major credit card, and hopefully me paying for all of what's on there will pay for the part of the house and keep the house.
No, wait a minute. Maybe let me rephrase. Pretty cryptic there, kid. You'll dazzle them. I'll say that. You mean you're going to borrow money on your credit card to pay your wife off?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Well, that's what I want to know.
You're paying probably 20% interest.
Well, I'm going through my union, and we're at 14.9.
Well, even that's 15%. Let's talk about the deal a little bit, shall we?
Okay.
Let's forget about credit cards and the rest of it. How much is your house worth as we speak? Now, when I say worth, I mean if you put an ad in the paper, the thing would sell. Not what you'd like to get for it, not what you paid for it. What is it worth today?
Okay, I had a realtor come through, and he said $48,500.
All right. How much do you owe on the house?
$42,000.
So there's only $7,000 worth of equity here.
Right.
And half of that's going to your wife.
Correct.
So how much you want to give your wife?
Well, I was hoping the $1,500 that she owes on this credit card would appease her.
In other words, you're going to take over the obligation for your share of the house. Is that it?
Yeah.
Can you borrow $1,500 and pay it off?
Probably.
Well, you'd borrow, and she in turn is going to give you a quit claim deed. Is that correct?
I believe so. I guess what it is why I want to pay off the one card is because even if I would have $1,500, I'm still on there until that is totally paid off. My name is on that.
I understand that. So why don't you borrow the money, close that account out, and the $1,500 is what you've agreed to pay on her behalf. Is that correct?
On the credit card?
Yes.
Yes.
And that's going to, and then she'll accept that as her piece of the action on the house.
I believe so.
Well, what do you mean you believe so?
Well, we've talked, but I haven't got a definite answer.
Well, if that's the case, then what you see that it gets a little more involved here. Let's assume that you can go to somebody, your brother or mother or somebody, borrow the $1,500.
Okay.
You close the account out, and there would be an agreement.
Well,
let's listen in writing, I would think. At the same time, she would execute a quitclaim deed to give up her interest in your house.
Okay. I guess what maybe you don't understand, but the account is at $3,000.
What's the $1,500?
Yeah, well, it's my half.
Oh, it's your half.
Yeah, and I would rather pay off mine and hers.
Well,
I would have that clean and the house clean. Is what I'm saying.
Well, the house wouldn't be clean.
Well, unless
let me ask this of you.
I'm as confused as you are.
No, is her name on the credit card?
Correct.
As well as yours?
Yes.
All right. Then why don't you go to the credit card company?
Okay.
The same company and say, look, I'm going to give you $1,500. That's half of what we owe. I want to cancel this account and open one just in my own name and put the $1,500 back on.
I have.
And they said?
And they said until it is at zero, your name will be on there.
Did you ask
I can open an account. She can open an account. But
well, then open an account. Open a brand new account. And then just transfer the funds over. And then close out. Look, if you can, they'll let you open a new card in your name right now?
Correct.
Fine. With what kind of a credit limit?
The one I'm on right now is $4,600.
All right. Well, how much? I didn't ask you that. How much will they open a new account for you for?
I never asked them that.
Well, let's assume that you can open one for $15,000.
Okay.
And let's further assume you can borrow $15,000 from somebody else.
Okay.
You pay off the card down to $15,000, right?
Right.
You open up a new account, and then you borrow the money on the $15,000 to pay off the first one. So nothing has really happened here. You just transferred it from one to the other.
Right.
in return for all this action, then you close out that account. It just dies. Both you and your wife send the letter in as being closed.
Okay.
And in return for this, at the same time, she executes a quitclaim deed. Now, what I would have her do is execute the quitclaim to be held in escrow by one or the other of the attorneys, I don't care which one, until this other piece of legerdemain has been accomplished. What I'm trying to avoid is her having to change her heart after all this has gone by. Say, I don't think I want to sign the quitclaim after all.
Okay.
Good luck, kid. I'm Bruce Williams. This is Talknet. Fresno, California. Hello there. Welcome to Talknet.
Hi, Bruce. Bruce, 4 days ago, I took my car into the shop to be serviced.
Yep.
And I told them my husband did. He told them what the symptoms were.
It goes chugga, 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 chugga.
Well, yes. And they told us, among other things, that it needed a new alternator and some other work. And they said that it would be about $480.
Mm-hmm.
Well, when we went to pick it up yesterday, they told us it was $591.
480, a 10% variation with round numbers brings us to 530.
Well,
that's way too much. You can live with 10%.
Yeah. Well, we paid it anyway because we wanted the car fixed, and we thought, we just wish they would have told us a little closer, but that was all right.
But they should have picked up the telephone and called you.
That's what I thought.
All right, go ahead. So what happened?
Okay, so then we brought it home. This morning when I went to start it, it wouldn't start.
Mm-hmm.
My husband was at work, and I called him. So he called the dealer place, the service department, and told them to come and pick up the car.
Mm-hmm.
They said if they picked it up and it wasn't something that they had done, there would be a charge. So my husband came home and took the car to the shop.
Well, how did he get it started?
He just charged it up when he came home. He charged, I guess, with the battery. The battery was down.
He jumped it, you mean?
Yeah.
All right.
And when he took it in, they told him that they had put a bad alternator in.
That will happen.
So they're going to replace it.
Mm-hmm.
But
was it a rebuilt or new?
I think it was rebuilt.
Yeah, rebuilt. A lot of times that'll happen.
Well, this morning, there was also a leak under the car that hadn't been there before.
Mm-hmm.
Now, before
what was leaking?
Well, I don't know. So when he took it in, he told them it was leaking. There was another leak before on the side, and they told us that was the radiator. They put a brand new radiator also, besides the alternator.
We're back to this. Well, let's put it this way. What kind of fluid was leaking?
I think it was just like water.
Mm-hmm. Well, it could have been coming off the air conditioner.
But it hadn't been on all night.
How much water was on the ground?
Quite a bit.
How much is quite a bit?
Maybe about half a cup.
That's not quite a bit.
Well, because the leak hadn't been there before.
Yeah, but it might again, we're back to the same thing. It might have been from the air. There might have been some water trapped someplace from the air conditioner on a frame or something. Half a cup.
Yeah, well, my husband, he's at the dealer shop right now.
Okay.
And he just called me, and he said that they told him that it was the water pump, and it needs another water pump.
How old a car is this?
It's 5 years old.
Mm.
But see, my question is, why didn't they catch that 4 days ago?
Well, it may well have been. But you're telling me the car runs pretty good, right?
Yeah, it runs.
And it's only leaked a little bit of water in the ground. I wouldn't have that water. Was the water pump making any noise?
No.
Well, I don't know. I wouldn't be in there changing a water pump just now for me.
You wouldn't?
No, ma'am. Not if it's working well, the car's staying cool, and it's not making a lot of racket. Water pumps can be going and making a ton of noise with a bearing going. It'll still work. Sounds to me like somebody's stretching a little bit.
Well, that's what I thought. Because when he took it in, they replaced the alternator, but now, I think my husband's going to let them do the water pump too.
Well, if he does, he does.
But I thought that they should have caught it before.
Not necessarily. What makes you believe it just might have gone this morning? Now, you say it stretches the laws of probability. I'm not going to argue that, but it's possible.
But isn't it also possible that maybe, I don't know how
they damaged it? No.
It's not possible.
No, a water pump sort of sits there, lays there quietly. I don't think so. Only thing is they might have damaged it, conceivably putting a belt on, but I kind of doubt it. I do wish you well. I'm Bruce Williams for Talknet. We go go now to the city by the bay, San Francisco, California. Hello there.
Hi, Bruce. How are you?
I am just fine, thank you.
Hey, you ever coming out to San Francisco again?
Again. I was in San Francisco not too long ago, passing through.
Well, I missed you.
Now, KMBR has not invited me. When they do, I'll be delighted to come.
Okay. Listen, I've got an opportunity to get involved with a business, and I wanted your opinion on it, and if you've heard of it and what you think of it.
Let us talk.
Well, what it is, it's an employee leasing company. Are you familiar with that?
I certainly am.
And the company that I'm going to get involved with, or I think I'm going to get involved with, is the largest company in the field. They've been doing it for almost 20 years. They've got tens of thousands of employees that they lease. And I would be their Bay Area marketing person. And for the people out there who don't know what it is we come in and we would hire a small to medium-sized companies. We would hire their employees and lease them back to...
And you do all the payroll and you take care of the workers' comp and the fringe benefits and everything else.
Retirement plans and the health insurance and all that kind of stuff.
Now, you realize how some of these things had their genesis.
I understand that at one point it had something to do with trying to get around retirement plans.
It had a lot to do with something. Not just a little bit. It had a lot to do with it.
Okay.
The employee, it kept the grunts on one payroll and the executives on another.
Yeah.
But that was declared very improper.
Right. I'm finding out now that a lot of small companies don't want to do the paperwork involved with things like retirement plans and things like cafeteria 125 plans.
Indeed.
So the employees, what I'm finding out is that at one time it was designed to not be to the benefit of the employees, but now I'm finding out with the laws that the IRS has that now the benefits, the employees are actually doing better.
It can very well be the case.
And the employer is, what I'm finding out also is, with the many thousands of people that we insure for health insurance and workman's comp, we're able to get pretty good rates, and we're saving the business owners some money. I'm wondering what you think of the whole thing.
Well, again, you've covered it pretty nicely just now. That 30, 40, 50, whatever the number was, years ago, hiring somebody was pretty straightforward proposition. You took the Social Security out, unemployment insurance, and that was the end of it. The fringe benefits were non-existent. Then it became not too terribly difficult because most things like hospitalization you just could pick up the phone and get.
Right.
There was only really one or two providers of the stuff. Well, now there's a whole menu of things. Then you get into the business cafeteria plan of, well, if one spouse has hospitalization, why in the world would you want to send $1,500 to the same company under a different name and so forth? Isn't that right?
Right.
Give them another. Well, all of these things have complicated it. So for a small employer, frequently today, it makes a whole lot of sense. Yep. Now, that doesn't mean you're going to walk in on every small employer and he's going to say, wow, come on in, nibble my ear, let's do it.
Right. I know a lot of them think they're giving up control, but they're still staying in.
Well, without regard to that.
Control.
Perception is just as important as reality in this case.
Okay.
You are going to have to go out and persuade people.
Okay.
That you have something better. But do I think that there's a place for it in the marketplace? You bet.
Okay. Well, thank you very much.
Take good care, my friend.
Okay. Bye.
I'm Bruce Williams. Stick around. This is Talknet. Watsonville, California. I just drove through your place here a few weeks ago.
Oh, is that right?
Yes, I did.
Oh, very good.
Right down, was it 192, was it?
152.
152, right.
That's it. My question that I have for you is about working for the FHA, the government tracer. I guess the other night you got a call from...
No, hold it. You mean not working for the FHA?
Well, yeah, maybe it's through another company.
Well, yeah, what you were talking about is locating people who may have an FHA refund coming.
Right, exactly.
Now, that's not working for the FHA, boy. You have those guys down there getting gray hair.
Well, yeah, okay. Now, there was a recording that I called. A guy wanted to nick me for like $40.
Yeah.
And he said that you would be getting paid from the Treasury. Now, would they be taking out...
No, they're talking about... This is... Let's start with the back end. Forget the whole deal, all right? Mm-hmm. But here's what they're talking about. They're talking about when an FHA mortgage has been fully paid, there may be money in a fund left over from the insurance payments that all FHA mortgage holders or mortgage borrowers pay into. And in their pool, there may be some money set aside that must be applied for. It doesn't come off automatically. and you were supposed to locate people that had this coming, and then you tell them that you'll split the money or whatever you want, or whatever kind of deal you want to whack up, all right?
Mm-hmm.
The problem with that is that these guys have sold tens of thousands of books, courses, and whatever on this subject. And so when somebody does get uncovered as having a refund, they get 35 people rapping on their wood saying, hey, I want to share it with you. It is an idea whose time has come. How old are you?
I'm 34.
Well, but you were running around in short pants when it was coming. You're a little late for this one.
So I don't think it would be worth my time to even bother.
I certainly think no.
Okay. Well, thank you very much.
It sounds great, though, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, you got that right. Well, that's how they make their money, making it sound great. Honolulu, Hawaii. Hello there.
Hello there, Bruce. Listen to you all the time.
Well, thank you.
Okay, here's what's coming down. We got a little note in the mail from a timeshare company telling us that we can go to the Big Island. I live on the island of Oahu, and we can get a super deal from them for $120 for my wife and myself to go over for 3 days and 4 nights.
Over to the Big Island.
Our only obligation is to listen to 2.5 hours of a hard sell for a timeshare.
This is you go.
I know how you feel about timeshares, and we feel exactly the same way. But we thought that due to the price is such a great deal that give us a chance to get away to another island. But we'd take a chance and listen to their pitch. But what I'd like to do is counter their points, and I don't have all of the good points that you've mentioned before. And I was wondering if you'd just list some of them.
Well, I'll be glad to do that, but I think that's a mistake.
How so?
I just sit there and listen. You take 2.5 hours, and then leave. I wouldn't get into a dialogue or a debate with them. What does that accomplish?
Well, it might be a little fun.
Well, that's another matter. Now, wait a minute. Maybe we can get along together, you and I. But it doesn't accomplish anything. Having fun is okay. If that's what you want to do, that's fine.
Well, to do a little verbal sparring with them, I thought might be fun.
Well, okay. But I just think if you just want the ride over and back, I would not engage in that. But that's all right. All right. You see, I think if you analyze a timeshare deal, just the cold light of the cold independent light will show you why it's not a very good deal. Starting at the back of the deal. Suppose I want to turn this thing into cash. How do I do so?
You can't get rid of it, probably.
Well, no, you're starting the debate here. I don't want you. We're debating this.
Oh, okay.
And we're trying to set the other side up. Say, Mr. Timeshare Salesman, yeah, this may have some merit, but what I want to know is if I've got to bail out, how do I do so?
Okay.
There's no answer to that. He could answer you, well, there are organizations that will sell it. What's their names? Do they want any front money? What percentage do they ordinarily sell it for based upon its original selling price? And the average is about under 20%. I've forgotten one of the newspapers, Journal USA Today, somebody published an article here a short time ago showing what the stuff really is resold for, and the average in the nation was under 20%.
Oh, lovely.
Yeah. Get all your bread tied up, you'd be just so happy with that. I mean, you couldn't stand it, right?
Okay.
But that's what you have to concern yourself with, and that's the one thing that you can hang your bonnet on. There's so many others, though. Let's assume of a $10,000 investment for the sake of this discussion. The $10,000 could be put into long-term bonds yielding easily $1,000 a year. Then you have the annual maintenance charge, which translates into weekly, because you only have it for 1 week. And then we have the annual swap fee. Now, admittedly, it should not be hard to swap an apartment in Hawaii for someplace else because that's a very desirable location. But those are the things you want to attack.
Okay.
But the big thing is leave your watch and wallet home. Credit cards.
Hey, what do we have to do to get you out to KGU?
Sure, I'd love to come out to KGU. Well, all you got to do is have KGU send me an invitation and work out a deal with my office.
Okay.
We could do it.
Would they have your office number?
I'm sure they do.
Okay.
I'm sure they do. Hey, thanks very much.
Okay,
but leave you that. I told you, leave your credit cards home.
Okay.
No blank checks and don't know your bank account number.
Exactly right.
Take good care. Those guys are good at what they do. Believe it. I'm Bruce Williams. Yes, this is Talknet. Indianapolis, Indiana. Hello there.
Hi, Bruce. You're my very, very favorite.
Well, aren't you sweet? Thank you very much.
I listen to you every night. And never turn on the TV, just watch your show.
Aren't you nice? What's on your mind?
Okay, whenever you enter a resume and the ad in the paper states to send a cover letter with history of salary, I've been advised not to do that.
Why?
Because they said many times the job is paying more than what you're making already.
Well, that may be, but if you don't comply with what they require...
Okay, that's what I want to know.
The chances are that you won't get any consideration at all.
Okay. Now, if their ad does not ask for salary history, then should I
don't give it.
Okay. Only give what the ad asks for.
Yeah.
Okay, fine.
I mean, don't go out and just start throwing a lot of information around gratuitously.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
But if they say, give us your... a lot of times an ad will say... salary requirements. That means you got to tell them what you want. Well, if you don't put that in there, and obviously you're under the obligation to do so, but I'll bet you the possibility of you being a serious applicant is really diminished geometrically because of the lack of putting that in there. Hey, California, your turn.
Hi, Bruce.
Hello there.
When are you going to make it out our way?
Oh, gee, Northern California, I don't know. KNBR hasn't invited me. I will be in Bakersfield in the early part of next year. I'll be down at Disneyland the early part of next year. But not Northern California.
We've stopped shaking, so you don't have to worry about that.
Listen, I'd love to come out. Just get me an invitation.
Okay. Hey, I've decided to look into becoming a truck driver.
All right.
And I've looked at a few ways of doing that.
What do you say, a truck driver? Are we talking about an 18-wheeler? Are we talking about a local delivery truck, or what are we talking about?
I'm looking at over the road, 48 states.
Well, I mean, you're talking about a semi-trailer.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, the big truck.
Yeah, 18. Okay, go ahead.
And I've looked at a couple schools in our area. Basically, their programs running from 12 days to 9 weeks for about $4,000 bucks. There's an employer I talked to.
Yeah, what'd she say?
And the employer said that they would train me if I gave a commitment to work for them for a year.
Well, I think I'd go for that a whole lot more quickly than would go to school.
Right.
How's the pay?
They said that they would probably start me off at $25K.
I think you're far better off to go with the employer than you are to school.
Okay.
Not even a close race, in my view.
Any other?
When you go, now let me explore that though before we go any further. Now, the employer, would you be truly an employee, or would you be a contractor? You got to buy your own truck.
No, I would be an employee.
Grab it.
Yeah.
Much better off.
Yeah, that sounded the best to me.
Oh, I was in a contest.
Yeah, there's another option. There's a college that would cover everything in that industry. Management, motor carrier, dispatching.
Well, what is it you want to do? You said you want to be a driver.
Correct.
If that's what you want to be, then grab the job with a company that's willing to train you and pay you.
Okay.
Now, if you want to learn the trucking business, do you have a degree of any kind?
No, I got a couple years general ed.
If you want to go to school, that's another story altogether to learn management. But if you want to be a driver, grab the opportunity. I wish you well, my friend. I'm Bruce Williams. Stick around, kids, because this is Talknet. We're having ourselves a little get-together in New Jersey, just outside of New York City, the 28th of November. I do hope you'll be part of it if you're anywhere in the New York, New Jersey metropolitan area. It'll be at the Sheraton Hotel, which is a gorgeous hotel, just off the New Jersey Turnpike, a quick cab ride from New York City, or from eastern Pennsylvania, lower Connecticut. All the Talknet hosts will be there. It's our birthday. That's right. 8 years in the business. And who's to say how long we'll be around? We hope a long time. In any case, you'll get an opportunity to meet the Talknet hosts. I'll be there to do this little thing we call an evening with Bruce Williams. We have 2 levels of tickets. The Golden Circle are $25 a piece. You'll get to meet people personally and some refreshments and little extra privileges. And general admission tickets without refreshments are $10 a piece. They're available through Ticketron, but they are somewhat limited at this point. So if you'd like to join us, just give Ticketron a call, credit card in hand, or stop at Ticketron office and just tell them you want tickets to the Talknet birthday party at the Sheraton in the Meadowlands. I do hope you'll join us. I really do. We're going to have a good time. The room is relatively small, so that we cannot offer too many more tickets. But I do hope you're one of the 5 people that come over and see us, and we'll get acquainted and have a great evening. Pompano Beach, hello there. Welcome to Talknet.
Congratulations on your grandson.
Well, thank you so very much. I'm kind of pleased.
Well, we're really happy for you too. I'm calling because I hope I can be very as quick as possible.
Take your time and let's get it. We'll take whatever time is necessary. How's that?
Okay. Our son.
You just ran out of time. I'm sorry.
I can see why.
Go ahead, dear.
Our son bought a home down in Miami, and he's only had it for 2 or 3 years. His company is moving into Port St. Lucie, into Palm Beach County, but he is looking at a lot in St. Lucie County.
You have to give me some geographic references here.
Okay. You have...
I don't want to hear... No, just tell me how many miles apart, why we're moving, and so forth.
Because the company says they have to move up there.
Why?
And it's approximately 100 miles. The lab that he's in is on a second floor, and it has radioactive equipment, and it has to be a first floor, and the cost of property down there...
No. Well, why does he have to move? He can commute if he wants to.
Not 100 miles.
Well, you could. I do it.
Well, the reason I'm saying that is because they call him out at all hours.
Oh, okay.
And he has to be ready to do work for them on call.
Okay.
So they haven't set a date that they are going to move, but in the meantime, he's been hunting for either a house to buy or a lot. Well, I came out to...
Well, wait a minute, hold on. He owns a house in Miami.
Yes.
What's he going to do with that?
Well, if he finds out when he has to leave, he'll put it up for sale.
Well, why does he put it up for sale now?
Because he doesn't know when he's going to have to leave.
Well, does he know within 6 months or so?
Not really. They've moved the date twice. Changed the date twice. It's into 91 now.
Nothing imminent here.
It's hard to plan, really.
Well, then why is your son buying a lot or a house in the new location now? What's the hurry?
Well, they thought if they could buy the lot, and the builder said he only needed 3 or 4 months' notice, that when the time came...
Mistake.
They could go ahead and give him notice and start the build.
I think that's a major mistake.
You do?
Yes, ma'am. How much did your boy make? How much did he earn?
About 35.
No way. You see, he can't afford to own a house and a lot and support his family.
Well, his wife works also.
How much does she earn?
I would say over 25.
Well, even at 60. I think they'd be better off to wait till they get the move solidified. What are you going to do if all of a sudden they decide, hey, in 91, we changed our mind.
No.
We're going to move to, West Undershirt. Then what? Now he's got a lot up there. He's got a house in Miami.
Well, they've been trying to get approval on a lot that's $40,000. That's the cheapest they can find.
I think they're very foolish to do it.
Well, I'm glad to hear you say that. We've been chewing our nails here trying to figure out. They were refused the loan for the lot.
Well, the bank thinks as I do. They're over their head.
Yeah.
Well, why would you want to put somebody over their head? Furthermore...
That's what... that's just the thing, and we don't know how to say no, really.
I'll tell you how you say no. N-O. No. You're being foolish, and we're not going to help you be foolish.
Well, that's a good way to put it. I thank you for your help.
You're welcome. See, it's so tenuous. You're telling me the company put the date off twice? They could put it off till 1995. In the meantime, he's got to be making payments on a lot up in wherever.
Yes,
That's
2 counties away.
Crazy.
Yes.
Crazy. I wouldn't even consider helping him.
I thank you for your help.
Take good care of him.
Thank you.
Sometimes, it's the old... You got to tell your kids no. Des Moines, Iowa. Hello there.
Hello?
Hello. Let's get it on.
Okay, listen. I've got a problem getting some money out of a brand new magazine that's starting up here in our area. I wrote an article for them, and now they're kind of reneging on it.
What did they use the article?
Well, they have not published their first issue yet. They're forecasting they're going to publish their first issue in February. They supposedly have $5 million to work with. We're talking about $350. The contract said I would be paid upon acceptance.
Mm-hmm.
I submitted the article. They took it. They read it. Or I know they accepted it. That was
Hold on. What was that word?
Acceptance.
No. Before that, you said as far as I know?
As far as I know.
That doesn't tell me anything. Do you have anything definitive to prove they've accepted it, like a letter saying, we accept this article for publication?
I've been told verbally they were going to...
Hold it. I didn't ask you that. I said, do you have anything to prove that they've accepted this?
Only their word.
The answer is no.
Okay.
Okay, so go from there.
Okay. That was 45 days ago. they still have the articles.
Well, the article, though, is just a copy, some printed paper, printed words in the paper. They've got nothing.
Right, okay. Well, I have gone to them and said, when am I going to get paid? And they said, well, now they've changed the rules. They said, well, to be really accepted, we have to go up against our editorial board.
Well, then, wait a minute. You're just underscoring what I said. They haven't accepted it yet.
Well.
End of story. You have no deal.
No deal whatsoever.
You have no deal.
Well, how can I define the word acceptance?
A letter saying they've accepted it.
Okay.
Get no letter, no deal.
Okay, so that. So that's the whole thing.
Yeah, they may very well decide that your article isn't up to their standards, or they may decide that they're not going to pay anybody for anything until the magazine is ready to be printed. And if you don't like it, then take your article someplace else. You didn't have a contract or a commission to do this, did you?
No, there was an actual. I have an actual written piece of paper saying we will probably be paid upon acceptance.
Oh, hold it. What was the word?
Paid upon acceptance.
No, you threw probably. You throw these little words in. Those are very important words.
Okay.
They haven't accepted it, and it's only probable. You got nothing. Nothing. I'd sit and be patient because, frankly, what are you going to do with the thing if they don't take it? Good luck, son. Welcome to the world. I'm Bruce Williams for Talknet. Beantown, Boston. Hello there.
Hi, how are you? I love your show.
Oh, thank you so very much.
And congratulations on being a grandfather.
Oh, thank you.
Maybe you can identify with me. I'm a grandma with 3 little grandsons.
Well,
and
how
that's
nice.
why I'm calling you.
What's up?
I have a daughter and a young son-in-law that both have college loans. We'll say up to about 12 grand. She was teaching for a while there, but she's had to leave because of child care being so high. He probably takes home about $460 a week or so. And he's always grabbing everything on Saturdays and Sundays. They have no bills but the standard ones, rent, gas, light, utilities. What can they do as far as bankruptcy with those?
The loans aren't, I don't believe college loans are dischargeable by bankruptcy. And that's good. That's good. They got to pay them. That's part of they borrowed the money, and now they got to pay.
I know.
She maybe has to go back to work, honey, and that doesn't you say that she's... I'm not unsympathetic.
No,
but she can work nights. When the old man is home...
Do you know how old the children are?
Sweetheart, she's got bills to pay. There are women that are supporting 3 kids all by themselves. It's not easy.
Well, her baby's 3-2, and the baby's 6 months old.
My
He's
dear,
working 7
nobody
days.
asked them to have 3 kids in that short
Well,
period
they
of
didn't
time.
plan it, that's for sure.
Well, that's another program. I mean, I'm not... Listen, I had 5, so I'm not... and they were just as close together as that. But, my dear, if he's doing all he can do...
He is, and they both are,
And it means... No, they both are, because she's still... And I use the word just very, very loosely, taking care of the kids. When he's home at night, he can take care of the kids, and she can go out and get a job and work for 6 or 7 hours.
Do you know what it's like here in Massachusetts? He's working in Rhode Island in construction. He can't even get work here in Massachusetts.
I find it hard to believe that there aren't jobs in convenience stores and that sort of thing. And that would give them enough money to pay the college loans. Did I say it was easy or nice or pleasant? But then life is not always easy, nice, or pleasant.
No, I think if you saw their budget, you'd be talking differently.
Well, wait a minute. Look, hold on now. Wait a minute. I didn't say they were squandering money, did I?
No.
There are 2 alternatives that you have. Increase your income or decrease the outgo. Now, clearly, with the dollars that you told me, they cannot decrease their outgo. So all they can do is increase the income.
Okay.
Now, if the old man is working as many hours as possible, only leaves one person left, unless you can figure something for the kids to do.
Yeah, and he comes in about 7 o'clock at night.
Then she goes out at 8.
And then she's supposed to take care of 3 babies all day long.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. She will not be the first or the last. It's not easy.
But it's definitely, they can't be dischargeable.
To the best of my knowledge, you cannot discharge college student loans, guaranteed student loans, to bank. Would you want that to be able to discharge?
I wouldn't normally.
I don't mean you, but I'm talking about in general, not just for your child.
No, I agree with
Because kids should not. This way, there's a million kids around the country would grab the money and go. We can't have that.
Then how are they doing it? I mean, if they're grabbing the money and going, I mean,
no, a lot of them are. A lot of them are. They're grabbing their income tax returns and doing.
They wouldn't even mind if these people would lower it so they could, make the payment.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they won't even cooperate and consolidate, or they don't want to duck out on this.
It means somebody else has to loan the money. You see. No, that kind of money is only going to come from people who love them.
I'm a widow, and I have 5 children, and I mean, I certainly can't help them.
Okay, I'm not suggesting that you shouldn't. I'm not picking on you. You have nothing to quarrel about. What I'm saying is that when you get yourself in, you got to get yourself out. Now, they borrowed the money. They had a big family in a hurry. Now, you got to pay the piper. Now, for example, just to pay those loans, $12,000 is not that much, all right? If she were to take a job all day Saturday and Sunday, that would be enough to pay the loans. Take some of the pressure off. Now, I know that would louse up their life a little bit. But unfortunately, that's the way it has to be.
Well,
not easy.
No, I don't see how it could be done, to be honest with you.
Why? Just give me one. Just tell me why.
Why? I mean, the children, to be honest with you, there's 3, 2, and 1. Yeah. He works all day Saturday, all day Sunday. Right. He doesn't get in till 7 o'clock at night.
If he gets in at 7... is there any reason, seriously, why she couldn't work from 8, say, to midnight?
All right, so she goes 8 to midnight, okay? And she's got infants and 2 calves on his feet.
Okay, I'm not going to quarrel. Look, I understand where you're coming from. You're a mother, and I appreciate that. But can I ask you one serious, hard question? Suppose he died. She'd have to do it, wouldn't she? Wouldn't she?
Yeah, I guess.
Well, unfortunately, that's the way life is.
Yeah.
And she's young enough, resilient enough, certainly educated enough to bring it off. It seems to me. I didn't say it was easy. I do wish you well. It's hard for you to sit back on the side, and I understand that probably better than most. And I sympathize in that regard. But unfortunately, the help that most of us need is on the end of our arms. I'm Bruce Williams. Agree or disagree? This is Talknet. Reno, Nevada. Hello there. Welcome to Talknet.
Hi, Bruce.
Hello.
I'm sorry I didn't get a chance to come down when you were visiting here in Reno, but I was busy working.
We had a very nice time. We were opening. I was just they were gracious enough to allow me to participate in the ceremonies opening Harris Museum a couple of weeks ago. It is a great place, and I do hope you'll get a chance to visit it.
Well, wait, maybe one of these days. I don't know how I got lucky or anything, but you just now had a lady on who was talking about her daughter, and they had kids and everything. She couldn't get those student loans paid off.
Sure.
I sympathize with her and everything else, but my husband and I were both going to school, and we ran up a total of about $24,000 on our student loans between the 2 of us. And right before I graduated, I've only got a couple more credits to get. I went and had 3 kids.
Another one, huh?
Bang, bang, bang. Don't let him tell you the pill always works, because it doesn't.
Oh, boy.
So now I have 3 children under 4 years old. Okay? And I can sympathize with her and all, but my husband works with double time doing his duty, and I also work, and you can work from home. I do ex-dating for an insurance company in the evenings. What I do is I wake the kids up extra early in the morning. That way they get to see their dad, too. And then put them down early at night. Okay? And by doing that, then I have the evenings, like from 6 or 7 on to about 8 or 9, to make the phone calls and stuff.
What an interesting idea. Get them up so they got to go to bed early and they're tired out by an early hour. You're a smart lady.
Well, you can do that when they're about, up until they're 5 or 6 and they have to start functioning on other people's times. But yes, it can be done. And between my husband and myself, we have retired $12,000 out of the $24,000 of debt. Now we're paying it fast because we want to save the money. We want to go on from there and buy our own house and everything. And we figured that this is the best way for us to build the credit and everything.
That's terrific.
Okay, but yes, it can be done.
I think that you're proving it can be done. You're living proof of the fact that it can be. It's not easy.
No, it's not easy, and of course I think I have a pretty good telephone voice, but it can be done. It's just you've got to look for the opportunities. And as you can hear, one of my little monsters is making some noise in the background.
Indeed. Hey, listen, thank you much. You see, I'm sure there are a lot of people that perceived that I was picking on that lady, and I really wasn't. But I do know that as a parent, sometimes you tend to, well, if my kid is different and it's just too tough. But oftentimes, that same parent who says that had it infinitely more difficult when they were younger.
Well, I look at it this way. I know that those things were my responsibility, and I know it wasn't the American taxpayers' fault that I got pregnant. I mean, maybe I should have...
Very realistic lady.
As busy as I was, but, you can't always trust everything, right?
Sure. You're a refreshing change, I want to tell you.
Okay, well, maybe next time you get out here, I'll try and get down to see
You
you.
bring the squirrels on down. I'd like that.
Okay.
Thanks very much, and I do hope the lady in Boston is listening, and with a little bit of luck, she could pass on at least your experience to her daughter.
Yeah, well, there's a lot of things you can do from home. It's just you have to look for them.
You do what you got to do. That's what it comes down to, kid.
Right. Okay, thanks a lot.
Wish
Bye-bye.
you well, honey. Isn't it nice to have someone confirm what you really believe, that it can be done? Easy, no. But, hey, you appreciate it a whole lot more. Rogers, Arkansas. Hello.
Hello, Bruce. How are you doing tonight?
I'm doing real well.
That's good. Hey, I got a little problem. I work for a company here in town, and I did about 300 hours worth of work for the owner of this company.
As an employee?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So about 7.5 weeks.
Yeah, quite a while. And I got paid on company time. I did this as a personal.
I don't understand. When you say you got paid on company time, what does that mean? What does that mean?
Well, it means I got my salary from the company for working, doing
all right.
homework for.
You meant, does this guy own the company?
Yeah.
It's his own company.
Partnership.
Okay, and he had you do some work on his house and you got paid on the company check.
Right, and I charged material to the company account.
Here we go. You've been reading the thing about Mrs. Helmsley, maybe?
Right.
Is that what you?
I just really didn't think that was fair.
Fair to who?
The thing is, it was a partnership.
Well, wait a while.
This person's partner.
Well, does the partner know?
No.
How do you know that?
Well, because I was told.
By whom?
By the owner there, not to tell the partner.
Oh, I see. So what are we asking? What are you asking me? Should you tell?
I need advice. I don't know what to do.
MYOB.
You think that's a good idea?
Of course I think it's a good idea.
It just doesn't seem very fair.
Well, it may be. Then why did you do the job? I didn't see you saying, okay, I'm not going to go over there and do the work.
Yeah,
you took care of yourself.
That's true.
MYOB, in my opinion. If this guy's beating his partner's going to find out.
Yeah, I guess so. I just didn't know what to do.
I'd stay out of it. You still working for them?
No, I've left.
I'd stay out of it. Just put it behind you. It's not your business.
All right. Thank you, Bruce.
Okay, kid. There are a lot of people are going to say, oh, my goodness, their morality, and he should be over there telling them. Nonsense. This guy can't. The two partners will have to work it out among themselves. But there's no reason in the world for him to get involved. Oh, but I'm sure there'll be somebody who wants to take exception to that. Give me a call. I'll give you equal time. Mount Clemens, Michigan. It's your turn. Hello there.
Well, hi, Bruce.
Hello, baby.
I wanted to tell you about the wonderful bonus I got last week.
What happened?
It was $14.99, and that was for 10 weeks work. We went on a new...
10 weeks work?
Yeah.
That works out to about $1.50 a week.
Just about. I'm a sales consultant for a large retail concern in this area, and our store went on a new program the end of August, and I don't know if I should tell you the name of it.
No. I'd rather you did not.
Not the store, but the program?
No, just tell me.
Okay. Well, anyway, it's supposed to compensate to give you lots of money back. Well, my hourly rate, I started at $2.75 back 11 years ago, and now
$2.75?
$2.75.
Yeah.
That was 11 years ago. Now I'm making the princely sum of $7.32 an hour.
Mm-hmm.
And
what is it you do exactly?
I'm a salesperson.
Okay, you're a floor person.
Yes, in a department store.
All right.
now my multiplier is $15. So I have to sell $109.88 an hour. And
an hour?
An hour, correct.
What do you sell?
I sell dishes, pots and pans.
That's a lot of dishes and pots and pans.
Yes, it is. Well,
Well, what you're telling me is that the goals are not reasonable, not readable. They're not doable, is what you're
no,
saying.
they are not.
Well, they don't have to be.
Plus, I have to make 4 hours a week. We come in at 8 o'clock in the morning, and we do stock, and we are still gold for that 4 hours.
Well, but they're paying you for it, right?
They're paying us, but we're not.
You're not on the floor selling, is what you're saying.
Sure, no.
But look, there's no law that says they got to give you a bonus.
I know there's no law that says, but they made it out like, this is such a wonderful
Well,
program.
they have a right to do that. And you have a right to say, give them the raspberry to Bronx Cheer.
I know, and then some of the sales they tell us we have to do as a walk-up sale. Like, if we don't actually help this person make the decision for this item,
Right.
we have to do it as a walk-up. So,
Well, here's the thing. They have a right to make the rules.
that's correct.
And you have a right not to play. That means you can leave if you choose to. I realize jobs are hard to find, but they can tout. No, it may be that you might want to have a chat with them, but you think they're foolish. They know what the rules are, and they know they've already figured out how many people could attain goals and get bigger bonuses. It's a carrot that, in this case, doesn't mean very much. In my opinion, it's not very good management, but nonetheless, it's their store, and they call the shots. Your choice is to put up with it or to go elsewhere. Good luck, honey. I'm Bruce Williams. Yeah. This is Talknet. We go to Gladewater, Texas, home of KEES. Hello.
Hey, Bruce. How's it going?
I'm going to be in your part of the world tomorrow.
Tomorrow, really?
Tomorrow.
Coming down to see your grandson.
You got that right.
Congratulations.
Well, thank you.
Listen, I was wanting to ask you about building a house.
Uh-huh.
I want to spend about $50,000.
Yeah.
And build it up from scratch.
Why?
Why?
The reason I asked that, because there are some very, very good bargains in your part of the world just now. Why would you want to build when there are so many really decent buys on the market?
Having a lot of problems since then. I've been making all my payments to them, and I was accepted by a finance company.
But hold it. Take a deep breath. I take it that you were over your head with the first car, so you kind of backed up a little bit. Is that it?
Well, I traded in for a newer one because the one needed someone that could put a lot of money into, keeping it maintained.
No, wait a minute. You traded in, and you have an 84 now.
Yes.
The car that you traded in was even older?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it was 75.
Oh, well, then you traded in nothing, really.
Yeah. I made my payments to the car lot. When it came time for my first payment to the finance company, I hadn't received a payment booklet yet.
All right.
Called them. They never heard of me.
They never heard of you.
Okay, I called back to the car lot.
They said, why, sure they heard of you.
I thought they had heard of me. They approved me. I called the car lot, and they said that there was a delay in the paperwork to send the payment to them. So I made it out to the finance company in care of the car lot. This was on September 26th I purchased the car.
All right.
I got a call about a week and a half ago from a secretary at the car lot saying that it was imperative that I come down and fill out more paperwork. I was really busy and asked them if I could speak with someone in charge, and they gave me the runaround for a few days. Finally got in touch with him a week later, and he said that he was having trouble cashing in the deal with the finance company.
Cashing in the deal. What does that mean?
I'm not sure exactly.
Was that his term?
Yes.
What I think what he's saying is the finance company doesn't want to finance you.
Right.
He's trying to sell the paper. That's what it comes down to.
So I, went around with him. He refuses to return my phone calls.
Well, wait a while. You have nothing. You got the car, right?
Yeah.
What are you worried about?
Well,
you're holding all the cards.
Yes. Well, I called the finance company back and talked to a manager there, and they said that I never was approved.
Well, that's
that I
all right.
was turned down because I didn't have sufficient credit history.
Well, that may be, but you got the car. It's in your name.
Right.
The dealer may have to eat this one, put it on the shelf.
It is not. The deal hasn't been finalized.
Who's driving? Are you driving the car?
Not at the moment, no, because my second set of temporary tags that they gave me have expired, and they can't give a third one.
Then the car's not in your name.
No. No, it was supposed to have been in the finance company's name.
No.
whose name is the car in? The finance company would have a lien on it. It's not in their name.
Right, okay.
Whose name is the car in as we are having this conversation?
Mine. But I do not have a title for it. I just have the registration.
You don't have a conditional title?
No.
How come?
Well, I didn't think I received that until it was paid for.
No, you get a conditional title, a title with a lien on it.
Oh, okay. No, I do not have that. All I have is the sales contract.
So what does the dealer want to do?
Okay, well, in the meantime, they told me that they had turned me down, that they had never...
I understand that. That's not important right now. I want to know what the dealer wants to do.
Okay, well, he refused to return my phone calls, and so I filed a complaint with DMV.
All right.
Which was just a few days ago.
All right.
And now, this evening he called me, and he said that he has to do something about the situation, that he's got a car out on the road with no contract, because the contract isn't any good. And
why? You tell him, bring my money over, and then I'll give you your car back.
Well, that's what I told him. I said that I was not happy with his company so far, and that I suggested that I have his car, he's got mine, and my money, that we make an even trade.
Well, you're not getting your car back. That's probably history.
Well, I thought it might be, because it was advertised for sale. So, but he said that if I bring the car up tomorrow, that he'll reimburse me, have my car, and reimburse me.
Well, take the money and run.
But I don't trust the guy.
Well, and don't give him the car until you get the money.
If I go up there on the car lot, they can't just take the car.
Put the car across the street.
Okay. All right. I wasn't sure whether I should just let DMV take care of it.
No, DMV is not going to take care of it, I don't think. I mean, you're a big boy. Go, you tell them here, listen, if you can't finance it, fine. How much money did you put down on this thing?
Just the car and $400.
All right, so you want your car back in $400, that's all. In the absence of that, you keep the car. Good luck, kid. I don't see why the dealer just doesn't eat this one and finance it himself, but that's another program. Chicago, hello there.
Hello?
Hello.
Oh, Detroit.
Oh, I'm sorry, it says Chicago up there.
No.
Go ahead, what's on your mind?
Yes, I was wanting some information on cards.
Cards, like playing cards?
No, credit cards.
All right,
collateralized.
Yeah, what about them?
What I was curious about is, after a certain amount of time, will they help restore your credit? Down the road, like after a year or two.
First of all, a collateralized credit card is simply a credit card that looks like everybody else's, but because of either a lack of credit or a shaky credit or a bad credit in the past, the traditional issuers of cards are either reluctant or will not issue to certain people, to a lot of people. So that the collateralized system is as follows. You put a sum of money into a bank account that draws interest, but you may not draw the money out.
Okay.
If you fail to pay your bill, A, the card's canceled, and B, they take the money out of the account to pay the bill, to pay your credit card.
Right.
Now, if you have a collateralized card, and you continue to pay, or you do pay your bills on time for a decent period of time, that is certainly a viable credit reference without question.
Oh, good. Okay.
Now, is that going to be the answer to all your problems? No.
No, of course not.
But it certainly is a valuable credit reference. You've demonstrated that you're paying your bills on time like you're supposed to.
Right. Okay. One more question.
Sure.
Bruce, I had a repossession that was back in 1980. And I was wondering, is there a certain amount of time where it comes out?
It'll disappear. It should have disappeared by this time.
By this time?
Mm-hmm.
Even though they never got back with me on to pay for the balance of it.
It should have disappeared after 8 years.
I see. Okay, well, Bruce, I thank you for the information.
I do wish you well, my friend.
And I'll talk to you again.
Okay, kid. I was in Detroit this week. We had dinner with the Folgers winner, the Folgers contest we had some time ago. Well, I had dinner with Ann and her family in Detroit. Gorgeous restaurant, I got to tell you. I mean, this place was first class all the way. Everybody was very gracious. They even had a little extra room upstairs where there's a very comfortable chairs where one has dessert and coffee afterwards. We had a very pleasant visit. I think it was the biggest hotel I've ever been in. 70 stories high.
And so many stores downstairs that without laying breadcrumbs in the ground, you'd never get back to your hotel room again. It's called the Renaissance Center in Detroit, and apparently it's every fast food known to man down there someplace, and a few I'd never heard of, and cinnamon buns and cookies and the rest of it, as well as some very nice stores. But it is quite an operation they have there. But I was kind of boggled. I couldn't find my way around. I went downstairs. I called one particular retailer, went over there, had a heck of a time finding it, and an even worse time finding my way back home again. I'm Bruce Williams, the traveling bard. This is Talknet. Yeah, you have to wonder about big companies. Maybe it's the problem. They get too big, and things get away from them. And they start to forget the little things they did to get big. I was in Detroit this past Wednesday on an airplane, sitting there ready to go, and finally the flight was canceled due to a mechanical. Now, let me tell you something. I don't want them flying those things if there's any possibility. I don't care if there's a reading light out. I don't want the airplane to fly. I have no quarrel with that. But it was like a 3.5, 4 hour wait for the next plane, and then it was snowing like crazy, and who knows if we could take off or not, and I could make it driving in a lot less time to the city of my destination, which was, in this case, Grand Rapids. I get downstairs to the rent-a-car counter. Well, first of all, their computer is down. They're paralyzed. Computer is down. I mean, you would think there ought to be some kind of a backup so that somebody can pick up a telephone. Do we have a car in the parking lot there? Yeah, what's the rate on that? That doesn't seem... What did we do before we had computers? But no, ladies were very, very accommodating. It's just they couldn't get anything done. Finally, one gal, hey, my computer's working. Bingo, we got ourselves a car. Go outside. You know how at the airports it works. They have these shuttle buses running around in circles that take you out to where the cars are sequestered. They can't be right there at the terminal. We understand that. Go out of the door, and right in front of the door, there is the big We Try Harder bus. You know, bright red, all ready to go, except for one thing. The place you're supposed to get picked up is at least 30 feet behind the door of the bus. And the guy jerks his finger, wait for the next bus, with at least 3 people on this huge bus. Takes right off. Man, I was levitating. Why? I'm in a hurry. That's why I'm renting a car. I had to wait an extra 10, 12 minutes for the next bus to come around. Now, you would think that the guy would think enough of his company and enough of his job to be accommodating. I mean, so many people you meet are extra accommodating. I mean, I was eating fire. I went and talked to the manager, took the time, and she said, well, what did he look like? All I know is he's driving a big red bus. I don't know what he looks like. Couldn't see that, into the bus. But it seems to me there ought to be some way you could figure out who was where. I mean, I had a time-stamped, rental agreement. But the point is, whatever happened to service in this country? This wiseacre, I'm not stopping. My job was to stop back there, wait for the fact that I had to wait 10 or 12 minutes. In some cases, it doesn't matter. In some cases, it does. But you wonder why in some areas of our economy that other nations are beating us. Well, that little microcosm, is the word I'm looking for, of the American scene. Yeah. Well, the slogan is, we try harder. Well, in this case, this guy, if I were the manager, I'd try hard. I mean, this fellow would be looking for work. Simple as that. If one of my employees, I'd make an example of him in a hurry. But you got to wonder, where are we falling down as Americans? Because I'm so proud of our country. But I really wonder if a lot of retraining isn't necessary. The not my job syndrome, I guess. Pearl City, Hawaii. Hello there. Welcome to Talknet.
Hello, Mr. Williams.
Hi there. There's a place in your town which I visited on several occasions, which I think is super. I hope it's still there. It's been several years. The Pearl City Tavern. Is it still there?
Yes, it is. It's very famous locally here.
It is. The monkeys behind the bar and so forth?
Yeah, it's really something to go in and wonder who's watching who.
Very true. What can I do for you?
Well, I have some questions about real estate. I'm in the military. I have been for about 12 years.
Mm-hmm.
And when I was at my last assignment in North Carolina, I bought a house.
Mm-hmm.
Rather than throw my money away for rent, I decided to buy a house.
Mm-hmm.
And I've had that house about 5 years now, 5.5 years.
All right.
And I'm currently renting a place here. In the meantime, I got married. I bought the house down there when I was single, and it's been rented out.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm getting ready to relocate now to the mainland, and I want to buy a house with my wife.
Where are you going?
Going to the Fort Lewis area, Washington State.
Boy, you're really getting around, aren't you?
Yeah.
East Coast, West Coast? I'll bet you.
So anyway, my questions are many. I've had an outfit in North Carolina managing my house while I was gone.
All right.
And they're doing a reasonably good job. They charge me 10% of the rent.
That's about standard.
Now I'm going to sell the house. So they sent me a big sheet with a lot of costs on it for how much it's going to cost me to sell my house. And my problem with selling the house right now is that I got a graduated payment mortgage. Mm-hmm. So they, I guess, negatively amortize that. I didn't know what it was at the time.
It means you're digging a deeper hole all the time.
Right.
It means
so
anyway. But just so somebody along the party line may not understand what you said, what it amounts to is that at the end of the year you owe more money than you did at the beginning of the year.
Right. So at this point, if I sell the house, I will just about break even though the house is worth almost $10,000 more in appreciation. I will just about break even.
Yeah.
So among the things that they have listed on the estimate for selling the house, they have an attorney's fee for $375, I believe.
Sounds about right.
Well, I'm wondering if I should get an attorney. I know I've listened to your program, and you always say, get an attorney, get an attorney. Well, should I get one here, or should I try to locate one there?
No. The one in Hawaii can do you no good. No, you need an attorney in, I think it was North Carolina, wherever the property is located. Now, that does not mean that you have to necessarily use the attorney your management company is recommending. But as a practical matter, if you said they've done a good job for you up till now, I don't know that I'd have any problem with their recommendation. The fee sounds about right.
Okay. That was, I guess, my biggest question. Next, they have a place on here for signatures for both my wife and myself. Now, when I bought the house, I was single.
That doesn't matter. They're still going to want your wife, I would think, your wife's signature to release any possible claim. The title company's going to want that.
Okay. Next question is they've sent me a big form. This is a nationwide real estate company. I won't mention the name.
It's a franchise and all. It's a franchise, probably.
Right.
Go ahead.
And they've sent me a seller protection plan, they call it.
I cannot pass judgment on that.
Okay.
Can't do that. That's a privately sold product.
Okay, now their attorney that they hire, can I ask them who that is?
Absolutely. And you also want to talk to him on the telephone and make it clear that you are hiring him to represent your interests and your interests alone, not that of the rental company, not that of anyone else other than yours. And if that's not the case, he's the wrong guy.
Oh, okay. Well, this is the $375 that they have for...
They've allocated a number. It doesn't necessarily mean it's for a specific attorney. If they want to recommend somebody, fine. But by all means, before that deal is cemented, you ought to have a conversation with them. It's not complicated, but you should be represented. Good luck, my friend. I'm Bruce Williams for Talknet. Off we go. Boston, Massachusetts. Hello there.
Hi, how are you, Bruce?
I am real well, thanks.
Well, I'm a young new businessman in the ice cream business. I've just started my own wholesale company.
Mm-hmm. What kind of ice cream business?
Well, I manufacture super premium ice cream. You know, the quality of, say...
Okay, I get the good stuff, the high butterfat content. Whether that's good or not is open to some conjecture, I guess, at this point.
Well, everyone agrees it tastes great, but...
Yeah, that's true.
Anyway, I seem to have gotten myself into a problem right off the bat with my first and largest account.
What's happening?
Well, it's a case of non-payment, and...
they owe you money?
Exactly.
Your first account is stiffing you?
Yeah, I can't believe it.
How can you be so lucky?
Well, I guess I'm just naive. Anyway, and they bounced their first check to me, and I couldn't get in touch with the owner, who I've been doing all my communication with.
How much they owe you?
They owed me initially $1,100, and I've since received $450, so they still owe me $650.
What kind of a company is this?
It's an ice cream parlor.
Because it must be a very small operation when they start paying you partial payments.
Yeah.
For that kind of money.
Well, I started him off on 7-day terms. So I was delivering to him, from $250 to $350 worth of product a week.
Mm-hmm.
And he didn't pay me at the end of the first week. At the end of the second week, he gave me a check for 2 weeks' worth of ice cream.
He's a small real estate. He's a small merchant.
Yes, he is. And
unfortunately, he's working on a very, very tight string.
Well, he claims that he's doing much better in another line of work, that he's into real estate as his primary line of work, and this definitely isn't his first priority. He's told me that on a number of occasions. In any event, he's been promising me cash ever since the check bounced. Mm-hmm. I went by today to pick up $370, which he said would be forthcoming. And the money wasn't there. He wasn't there. The place was open. No one claimed to know anything about it.
Surprise. What else is new? How old are you?
27.
Is this surprising you?
No, it's not.
Okay.
But in a way it is. I mean, of course it is.
Well, it is. It's surprising you then. Well, it really shouldn't.
I can't imagine how he could expect to continue to do business if this is the way he treats his vendors.
He probably doesn't. Or he'll expect the people to go on COD.
Well,
a lot of guys are on COD.
In any case, I called him today, this evening. I got him at his home number, which he has told me to use in the past. And he went into a tirade when I said, listen, I'm getting a little bit nervous about you paying me. He said that the firm that was supplying him before me was, calling him all the time, very interested in getting his business back. They loved him. He spent $30,000 with them this year. What I had done when he first bounced the check, and my questions are twofold, because this may not have been the most sensible way to approach it, but I called the previous wholesaler and for a credit reference. And they told me that he had bounced 2 checks with them.
Then why in the world did you go?
I haven't delivered anything since.
All right. Look, you got a deadbeat. He's ranting and raving and carrying on. I'm not, the other guys want me. You say, by golly, then just pay me and buy your stuff from them.
Mm-hmm.
End of story.
Does he have any legal recourse against me for invasion of privacy by checking a reference that he did not authorize?
Clearly not.
Okay.
Clearly not.
And what's the next step? How do I deal with him from here?
Well,
I'm not going to obviously do business with him anymore.
Put him into collection.
Excuse me?
Put him into collection.
Okay, and that process is small claims court?
No, you hire you go to a collection agency. Why do you say, huh?
How do you reach a collection agency?
Oh, for goodness sakes, my friend. Look at the telephone directory, if not place else. I mean, there are plenty of places around.
Okay.
Not to worry. It's no big deal.
Okay.
But, I mean, if you think that this is going to be the first time or the last time this happens, it may be. If one of two things happens, you go out of business or you go on a COD basis. But if you're going to grant credit, you're going to get stuck from time to time. It is the nature of being in business.
Well, I thought my mistake was not checking references.
You can check all the references in the world.
Yeah, but that's no guarantee of anything.
There's only thing you guarantee is that you're going to get stuck once in a while.
Evidently.
It's the nature of being in business. and you have to program into your costs that not only eventuality, that eventuality. Get used to it.
Well, I was just wondering if you had an opinion of what my mistakes might have been from the outset. And,
the only mistake you made was continue to give him credit, continue to go after him and talk to him about, you put him on COD. You want to buy my stuff? COD. You want to buy it? That's fine.
Well, too late this time around.
Yeah, but you have to have a policy.
Yes, I agree.
That's what you've got to do. You got to have a policy.
I agree.
When somebody gets into you so far, then you cut them off.
Well, that's what I did, and he claimed to want to, build back to a situation where he could get product again.
Fine, just say pay me. 2 words, pay me. No checks, cash.
Good advice.
Good luck.
Thank you very much.
Okay, kid.
Bye-bye.
It's tough. You're young, you're in business, you want to do business, and you tend to give credit to people that you ordinarily shouldn't. We've all done it, to our sorrow. I'm Bruce Williams. This is Talknet. Tulsa, Oklahoma. Your turn. Hello there.
Good evening. I wanted to call you concerning I own a retail store, and I'm having severe problems getting good customers credit through the credit service that I'm going through.
We heard the last call.
I listened to it somewhat, but I'm in a different position.
I understand that, but
I can offer them a credit through my store as an in-house credit.
Yeah.
But I need to know certain guidelines, or if there's any information out there or a book that I can
Well, wait a minute. I'm a little confused. You want to give credit to people, you say?
Correct.
And you're...
For certain qualifiers.
Well, what does that mean?
Well, see, we have a TRW machine in our store, okay? And we got let me give you an arbitrary figure. I got a customer that's been working at the same job for 15 years.
All right.
Never had a stitch of credit in their whole entire life. They own their own house. They're able to put down a substantial down payment.
Well, but can we back up just a little bit? How much credit are we granting?
We could be granting anywhere from $200 on up to $3,000, depending on what the individual wanted.
What is it you sell?
Appliances, furniture, electronics.
All right, then you have something that you can take a lien on. At least there'll be something protecting the value.
My situation is to cover my initial investment by getting a substantial down payment.
I understand that, but I'm just trying to get to, as opposed to a service where there's nothing you can repossess.
Right.
So there's a partial collateral in place here.
Well, we don't want to send no knuckle-dragging Neanderthals out there to collect either.
I understand that, but I mean, come on, will you?
Sure.
Your situation is different when you send a television out, or the title remains with you until it's paid for, than it is for the guy who goes out and cleans the carpets.
Sure.
Because he can't repossess or go out and dirty the carpets up.
But it's really difficult to repossess, though. I don't want to get into the sticky business.
I understand. It ain't easy, but there is a possibility. Sure. There is value there.
That's not really my major concern anyway, the repossessing part is the...
No, but it is the concern of you. What you're telling me, I think, is that you're looking for somebody else to carry the paper.
No, not at all. I want to carry the paper myself.
Well, then you can make your own decisions. You don't even need a credit company.
Well, I understand that there's a book out there that I've been unable to find out the title of it or who sells it or what for certain guidelines to follow for an in-store credit program.
Goodness gracious. First of all, you're going to find out that very few people, including the very major companies, run in-store credit programs profitably.
And that's what I'm running up against.
Well, that's true. Where did let me see, was it today? I think it was today's Wall Street Journal had an article about it.
Okay.
And if it wasn't today, it was certainly this week, but I think it was today. Where, as I said, it might have been earlier in the week.
Sure.
Where there are companies that are doing this for retailers because they're losing money on their own programs. Now, the idea of having your in-store credit is to get people to spend more in your store. Sure. If they've got a Visa card, they can go any place. If they got a Jones Brothers store card, they only can go to Jones Brothers with it.
Exactly.
But it would appear that most companies doing this are farming it out because they can't do it for themselves.
Well, you can sell the paper if the...
No, the whole program. The issuing, the whole business is being done by someone else. Now, if you can build enough into your system to cover the losses and cover the expenses, go for it.
I think that can be done, though.
Well, then go ahead and do it. I mean, you can go to the library, and I'm sure there are books written on the subject. And I'm confident if you go to the reader services of organizations like the Wall Street Journal, your major newspapers, you're going to find articles written on it. And I have to believe you belong to some trade associations, or at the very least read the trade magazines. If they have a reader service, I'm sure this topic has been addressed more than once. I mean, the information is out there. But as I said, I do know I read an article, and I'm even giving the Journal credit where it might not be appropriate. But I do know I read an article this week about the topic. And the thrust of it was people are losing money at it.
Well, I know people that are doing very well with it. That's the reason I would like to get into it.
Well, I didn't mean they're losing money on the overall. They're losing money in the administration.
There's definitely going to be some source of mortality rate, too.
No. But that's programmed in.
Sure. Exactly.
Just like a credit card. A regular credit card, you have so much default programmed into the thing. Well, if nothing, suppose you want to do this. Let's just talk about this for a moment, all right?
Okay.
And you're going to get a certain amount of. I assume you said you're tied in with TRW.
Sure.
And so you know how to read a credit report, and you can make a decision.
Exactly.
With a reasonably informed decision based upon what you get, plus the amount of money they're asking for, and so on and so forth. And offset to some extent. Let's say you're selling something for $100. For the sake of discussion, if it costs you $30 or
I get
$40,
a $30 down payment.
and you get a $30 down payment, your exposure is zip.
Exactly.
Zip.
Exactly. This far we've already got.
Well, I don't see what your problem is then.
Yeah, I just thought maybe you could give me a little more boost on it to make me go ahead and do it.
Well, I'm not telling you to go ahead and do it.
Yeah.
I would say experiment with it.
Definitely.
Take 100 accounts, 50 and give it to the conventional lenders and 50 yourself and see where you come out ahead.
Who's these conventional lenders? I don't understand that part of it.
Well, a guy walks in with a credit card and he pays them every month. That's a conventional lender, isn't it? When a guy walks in and you accept bank cards, do you not?
Correct.
Guy walks in, how do you know if he pays his bill or not, and do you care?
Exactly.
As long as you get the authorization.
Exactly. But if you do get someone credit through your store and sell the paper to someone else and they stop paying,
okay? If I was terminated because, I mean, personally, I can't think of any other reason to terminate someone, but...
Well, no, there's a lot of... You could just, how about a lack of work?
Well, salespeople don't ever have that.
Well, that isn't the issue. There are other reasons besides dishonesty for someone being canned.
Well, I'm sure that you're right. At any rate, pardon me, I did speak with an attorney who told me that he believed since the last contract I signed basically only gave me a promotion in title only, but did not give me a raise in pay or any other kind of extra compensation, that it would be non-enforceable. He said it was because I received, quote-unquote, no consideration. Okay? Now, the manager that I worked under, I went to work for another firm. The manager that I worked under saw me out competing against the company in a section of the market that's much smaller than the bulk of the market.
All right, you have to go back a little bit.
Okay.
You didn't tell me, or if you did, I don't recall, what kind of product you were peddling.
I didn't mention. It was basically automotive sealants, resealants, adhesives, and coatings, things that are used in body shops.
All right, now how customarily,
yes,
how big a territory would one person cover?
Typically about 1 million people. The physical geography would depend on that.
Yeah, okay, because in other words, you get 7 guys in New York City, but only 1 guy in Montana.
Bingo.
All right. Now, how big an area? Are you inside that circle of 1 million or outside when you're competing?
Well, right now I'm currently competing outside of the territory that I used to service.
All right.
Basically, the company that I work for now does not want me to violate that non-compete clause,
right,
because they are a much smaller firm and they don't want to get involved in any litigation.
If they can avoid it, sure.
Exactly.
That's understandable.
Okay. Now, I am also an independent contractor for these folks. I have no guaranteed wage. If I sell something, they pay me. If I don't, they don't.
I don't see how one can restrict an independent contractor. You see, you could make the case, as is made frequently, that A, you're an employee, that records belong to the employer, that they are paying you. What are you, an outside phone there, or what? Saw your car stuff?
Yes, I am. I'm standing in the rain by the interstate.
Oh, son of a gun. You could make a case that the records belong to the company, that they are paying a salary, and you're learning on the job and developing contacts and all that sort of jazz.
Correct.
But how could you make that against an independent contractor? The guy changes lines. He developed his contacts on his or her own, at his or her expense, and was only paid on the amount of business one produced.
Well, the very first year that I worked for the firm, I was not an independent contractor.
Yeah, but that's 5 years ago.
That's correct.
That's 5 years ago.
What would you suggest that I do?
Well, you see, I don't want to play attorney here. I'm not,
I understand that.
I'd go ahead and let them put the ball in their court.
Go ahead and sell some of my former customers and...
No, wait a minute. I wouldn't go solicit my former customers.
Okay.
Not actively. Can you get along without soliciting them?
Yes, but I have to drive basically about 2 hours to get to see new customers, whereas formerly I could walk down the street.
Well, I'll tell you the truth, since you were fired, if it were me, I'd test it. If it were me, I'd test it. If it doesn't work out, of course, you can always drive that 2 hours. Because they can't restrict you, for the whole country.
That's correct.
That would be patently unreasonable.
Right.
But I would test it. They can't deprive you a way to make a living. Now, you can argue about the double billing of the phone bill and all that sort of jazz, and that might put some substance, and it certainly gives them some ammunition. But I would make them test it. I don't think many companies today want to test a non-compete, because more and more the courts are coming down with great regularity on the part of the employee for the obvious reasons.
Mm-hmm.
Now, it was clearly if you were paid to develop those contacts, in other words, they paid you to be out there soliciting. If you didn't make a sale, you still drew a paycheck. I have a different story for you altogether.
Right.
But that wasn't the case here.
No, in fact, it wasn't.
I wish you well, my friend.
Thank you.
Do let me know if it goes to litigation. Now, obviously, you don't want to contravene your attorney, but your guy said, as I recall, that the likelihood is that you could beat this one, and I would share his point of view. I'm Bruce Williams. Stick around. This is Talknet. Chico, California. Hi. Hello there.
How you doing?
I'm well, thank you.
Okay, I had a real frustrating experience last week, and the first thing I thought of was I should call Bruce and ask him what he thinks of this.
Shoot.
All right, I went to a jewelry store chain. There's two of them side by side in a shopping mall, brand new shopping mall.
Two separate chain stores, though.
Correct.
Okay.
And they're virtually 40 feet apart, and you would know them if I said them.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and I went to the first one, who I usually go to. I bought my wife's wedding set there. I bought my watch there. I've spent, I don't know, I buy all my jewelry there.
Okay, you're a customer. Let's establish that.
Okay. I have also a credit card for that store.
Mm-hmm.
I went there and saw this ring my wife wanted really bad. So I said, how much is it? And they said $195 plus, no, $195 minus 20%. I said, fine.
Now, we can't mention the name of the companies there.
Sorry.
We edited that out, but don't. Go ahead.
Okay.
You went next door.
I went next door, and I saw the same ring, identical. And I asked them, I said, how much is this? They said $175 minus 20%.
All right, so that's $1,750, $35, right?
Correct.
So now we're down to $145.
Correct.
Okay.
Plus tax is $100.
Well, tax is going to be. Go ahead.
Okay, so I went back next door. I thought I've always patronized them, so I went back and gave them up the opportunity. I said, the place next door offered me this price, and you guys know me. I've been in here before.
I understand.
And they said, well, sorry, we can't do anything about that.
Well, then go back to the store. What do you say, the $15?
Didn't that sound a little unreasonable?
No. The first guy, the second guy says, we're willing to work on this percentage, or maybe they got a little better buy, or who knows what. The thing isn't moving. They want to move it out.
Yeah, one guy that was in the store said at the second store, the one I usually go to, he said, oh, well, it must be lower quality. And I know they bought their identical rings. They buy them from the same place.
There's $20 difference here. That's what it comes down to.
Yeah, it was just principle. I bought it from the cheaper place. I have one more quick question.
Why not?
Yeah.
I'm serious.
Well, I like to patronize people when, they usually treat me well. And
well, the question is, being serious again, is that assurance that you will be treated well if there's a problem worth $20 to you in this case?
I see.
That's what it comes down to.
Okay. Can I ask you one more quick question?
Sure.
I went to work for a new company about 2 months ago, and I was in the previous job for about 3 years. It was a good job. I just wasn't real happy with the management. And the company I went to work for promised me A, B, C, D, and E, including a company car and all these things. And
this is a new company?
No, it's an old company.
No, new to you.
New to me, correct. They promised me A, B, C, D, and E. And I went to work for the company after 2 interviews and talking with my wife and all.
Uh-huh.
I've been there for about a week and a half, and I found out that the company's been in the process of being sold for the last 3 months.
Uh-huh.
And now I'm kind of wondering, do they have any responsibility as to, shouldn't they tell me this before they promise me these things, knowing they're selling it to another company? I quit a fairly stable job. And
ethically, do I think so? Yeah. Legally, I don't think, because look, let's take it as an example. The UAL deal, right?
Okay.
You know what I'm talking about?
United Airlines.
Yeah. The parent corporation is UAL Corp, right?
Right.
That thing has fallen apart 25 times.
Right.
That deal and this deal could fall apart as well. Do I think that somebody should have paid you the courtesy of saying, hey, do you know that we're on the auction block, or there's a deal being put together, or so on and so forth? Now, if you're at the very low end of this, and it sounds like you probably are,
yeah,
there's a good possibility it won't affect you. Clearly, if you were being considered, you're for a vice presidency, well, vice presidents are about as common as fleas on dogs in terms of their mortality in deals of this kind. But at the grunt level, which is where you and I are, the likelihood is they're going to still have a sales force, and I take it you're in sales when they're giving you a car and so forth, right?
Delivery, right.
Okay, that kind of work has to go on anyway.
Yeah, I agree. Okay,
so I would doubt very seriously that you're in jeopardy But do I think that they should have told you? Yeah, morally, I think that you were entitled to that information. Personal point of view. Oh, my goodness. The gentleman brings up an interesting point in that first conversation, in that are stores required to meet the competition's price? The answer is clearly no. No, not unless they advertise we'll meet or beat. And like, that's a joke, too. Why should you have to go back to show them a better price in order to get a better price? Here's the price, take it or leave it. I wish you well. I'm Bruce Williams for Talknet. 1070 WIBC. A warm welcome to WKTS in Sheboygan, Wisconsin. Dave Onstead is the GM, and we're very happy to have all you guys and gals in Sheboygan with us. Believe it, Spokane, Washington. Hello.
Hello, Bruce.
Hi, how are you?
Great. It's truly an honor to be able to talk to you.
Well, thank you so much. What's up?
Well, I know you're a traveling buff, as I am, and I'd like you to know what, if anything, I should feel that my wife and I are entitled to. In September, we went on a trip to Jamaica. Upon our departure on the 15th, we were told we were going to be delayed 45 minutes, and we were kind of ready for this because 3 years to the very day, they did it to us. Again, we'd be delayed, but this one was much better than the first one.
Well, wait a while. At the airport you're being delayed?
By the airline.
Yeah, well, I mean, for what reason? The plane isn't there, or weather? Or?
No, the plane was there, just like the last time.
Yeah.
We didn't know, but we were ready for it because we had all our extra goodies packed. And so anyhow, the delay went on in increasingly larger increments. And
could you tell me why?
Well, yeah, finally, after 6 hours, they told us that the left port wing, the red light, beacon light, was not functioning, and we could not fly in U.S. airspace without that
Without
function.
the left-hand wing saying red and the right-hand wing saying green.
I guess so. When you make a turn, they know you're coming.
Well, you can tell when you see an aircraft coming at you, right?
Right, you can see the color.
That's right. If the left is on, if the red is on your right, what does that tell you?
Yeah, it's the left wing.
It's heading right towards you.
That's right. So we said, okay, fine, a light bulb, big deal.
Well, not more than a light bulb.
How long could it take?
Yeah.
But it got worse. So finally, they said we're boarding. So we got on the plane. They sealed the doors, and as we're moving down the runway, they tell us the plane is still not fixed. We have to fly to Kingston. We have to dump 23,000 pounds of fuel so we can land there because the plane weighs too much.
Yeah.
And people on the plane are just freaking out.
Why?
Well, because why were they putting us on a plane that wasn't safe? And then, my ticket...
Well, first of all, I don't think they knowingly put you on a plane that wasn't safe. Let's start with that.
Well, but they knew it wasn't fixed, but they didn't tell us that until we were moving.
Well, no.
Then you didn't have a choice.
I don't think that they would have... No, I don't think so. Maybe so.
Oh, I know so.
Well, but the point is, why would they put the fuel on board and have to dump it?
The plane had been fueled hours and hours before.
And they couldn't discharge the fuel back?
No. And I told them, I said, that must have cost a bloody fortune.
Yeah, go ahead.
Dump it in the bay. So they get us on the plane and tell us, we're stopping in Kingston now, where they kept us for another 6.5 hours.
Where were you, Montego Bay?
Right.
Go ahead.
So we went from there to Kingston and dumped all the fuel. He took us on a tour of the island while he's dumping all the fuel. And we land there. They finally, this is, over 9 hours later, they gave us one piece of chicken and a soft drink. And then finally they got the plane fixed. We were talking to the pilot. Oh, wait, let me back up. Then they get the plane fixed, and they said, well, now the crew's been on duty too long.
Yeah, you got a stale crew.
They have to go off. We've got to find another crew. That took another 4 hours.
Let's call a stale crew. That's the law.
But see, they had to have known by the time.
No, you don't know.
Sure they did.
All right, maybe they did. What I'm trying to get to is seriously, 5 minutes. If they get into the air, they're illegal. If they leave 5 minutes before. If they don't get off the ground, they're illegal.
But once we landed, they told us that. So they had to have known while we were flying, hey, when we touch down, our clock's going to pop. And
well, maybe
we're on duty.
Maybe.
So I guess where I'm going with all of this is,
time to spare, go by air is where you're going.
That's it. I was discussing it with my wife. I said, isn't this ticket a contract between Montego Bay and LAX?
That's right. But they didn't tell you how long it's going to take you.
Did
they get you there?
Yeah, they did.
One piece.
Pretty much.
Yeah. When you walk away from it's a good one, man. You cheated death again.
So, but see, this was the second time they did it to us. But the first one wasn't as good as this one.
Well, first of all, maybe I'd stop flying that airline if you said that. I just took your analogy off the air too. I keep editing you out here, which I can understand. I'd use the same expression from time to time.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
But that's okay. But the point is that mechanicals are going to happen.
Okay.
Now, you're saying they should have leveled with you. Let's assume, for the sake of discussion, you're down there in Montego Bay, and they say, we're going over to Kingston to have this navigation light fixed. Would you have said, no, I ain't going, I'll stay in Montego Bay?
I would have said, you come back with that plane.
Well, they wouldn't come back. They said, look, we're not coming back. Would you have stayed?
Yeah, as long as they foot the bill.
No, if they said they don't have to foot the bill, you're at your point of origin. Only an interrupted flight. If they broke down in Kingston, then they'd have to put you up in the hotel, but not in Montego Bay.
Well, see, at that point now, by that time, it had been almost 12 hours.
Yeah, so what?
So that we were just stuck. That was it. So we were not really entitled to anything.
Not that I can see. I mean, I'm not. It's not that I'm unsympathetic. You see, maybe it's because I travel so much that I just anticipate this kind of stuff.
This was a doozy, though.
I mean, I was rolling down a runway. I won't even mention where because that might identify the airline, right?
Okay.
Halfway down on an A300, we blew an engine.
That happened to us the first time.
I mean, I'm talking about blowing an engine. I'm talking about parts on the runway, man. Now, 2 seconds later, we'd have been past the point of no return, flying along, hopefully, or climbing out on one engine.
Right.
Now, given that set of conditions, would you rather have been sitting there stuck in this city for 2 weeks one night, or would you rather have blown the engine maybe at 200 feet and maybe become a statistic?
No, that's okay.
Thank you very much. On that particular trip, we get off the plane, and they did agree to put us up at a hotel, right?
Bro, of course. Okay.
Yeah, this is the kind of a hotel that high school kids shun, on Saturday night. That's how good it was, right? And I'm a little bit... Now, you talk about you got at least a chicken and a glass of soda, right? We didn't get that. Because there wasn't any.
This was a domestic carrier?
This is a domestic carrier, so I get to the hotel in a cab because the bus never showed up, and a cab driver gets lost, and 4 or 5 of us jumped into this cab with a very nice but a very not very bright lady driving this big old Cadillac, and we finally get to the hotel, and I said to the girl at the hotel, well, maybe we could send out for pizza. I'm desperate. I don't even like pizza. So the nearest pizza parlor is 25 miles away.
That's it.
There were 2 candy bars in the machine, and I said, I don't know who gets the second one, but I got one.
That was dinner.
And that was dinner. That was about midnight, and this whole episode took place around 5 in the afternoon, and we took off the next day, and went home by way of another city, because that was the only connection we could make. Happens.
So you're really limited into what kind of recompense you're entitled to.
That's right, it happens. It's part of the nature of travel. And, there was a time, how old are you?
30.
When I was your age, I would have probably been laying on the floor, kicking my feet, holding my breath, turning purple, and doing all the things that you wanted to do.
Well, the friends we traveled with were doing that.
Yeah, there you go.
We were ready for it.
And let me ask you a question. Who got the LAX first, you or them?
We got there the same time.
Exactly right. So, I've learned to whip out my book.
Yeah.
Now, there are times when you can make other arrangements. You start going through the guide and you say, well, let me see. So, just about 2 weeks ago, I think I am snake bit when it comes to going to Dallas. I get to the airport, although I haven't been late for a show in a long time. I mean, it's got to be a year, except for Dallas. Last time I get snowbound in Milwaukee. This time I get fog-bound in New York. Same thing. We're on a plane, 2.5 hours out on the tarmac. Come back, because a lot of people said, we don't want to go to Cleveland. It's too late for the meetings we're going to and so forth, right? 4 planes before I finally got into Dallas.
No kidding.
Now, all the carrying on and fussing isn't going to change the fact that there was some bad weather in Dallas and there was some very bad weather in New York. Tell you the truth, given that set of conditions, I thought it was pretty important that I get there. They're paying me a ton of money and I have obligations, right?
Right.
I'd rather be on the ground in Newark, thank you very much, than cruising around in bad weather.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
Simple as that. And if the aircraft has got something wrong with it, I want to be on the ground. I want 10 guys fixing it.
Well, the other was all scratching their head.
Well, that's okay. Let them scratch on the ground.
I agree.
You're talking about Jamaica, right?
Yeah,
and Montego Bay. I was in Montego Bay, sitting on the airplane, and they delivered all the dinners. Only one problem: they were frozen.
Oh, so they did die.
And there was no galley on the particular plane I was on. Everything was frozen. The thing was, you could put it under your armpit and defrost it. No. I do wish you well, kid.
Yeah, appreciate your time.
All righty, I'm Bruce Williams. This is Talknet. Agora Hills, California. You've been very patient. I appreciate that. What's on your mind?
Well, thank you. Good evening, Bruce.
Hi.
I have an interesting thing that's happened to me, and this is the second time it's happened, but with a different set of circumstances.
All right. Talk.
We have a local company that prints Yellow Page directory that they distribute. It has nothing to do with the phone company. It's a private deal.
Sure.
They have my phone number in there for some college out in West Covina.
How nice.
Yeah.
Are you running a college in West Covina?
No, I'm not. And I've gotten, the directory just came out on Friday, and I've already gotten 3 calls.
Only 3?
Only 3 so far. But it's happened to me once before, and I was put in a catalog store for a big department store, and I won't mention the name.
How can you get to be so lucky?
I don't know.
Why do you win this lottery so regularly?
I know that the last time it happened, I did call the department store and tell them of their error, and their advice to me was change your phone
number.
Yeah.
It's probably good advice.
Well, but that's a hassle. I mean, I've had this number for 12 years.
Well, it's still probably good, depending upon the volume that you receive.
If there's nothing I can do legally, I mean,
I don't think so.
To cut out the harassment of this company.
Well, wait a minute. Wait a minute. The phone directories have all been distributed, right?
I would guess so.
Well, clearly, it would be a lot easier for you to change your number than to pick up 10 million phone books that are scattered all over California. It's just not going to happen. Now, if you had a business and you said, well, this phone number I've spent $1 million promoting and so on and so forth, now you got some damages and maybe we got something going. But in your case, I just don't see that to be an issue.
Well, the last time it happened, we had so many calls that my husband would say, just take their order.
Well, that's another matter. But you see, wait a minute. But whose fault? It wasn't the department store's fault. Who are you getting even with?
Well, I don't know. The department store did print that catalog. That was their own catalog.
Yeah, but they didn't print it. The printer printed it.
Right. And it was my phone number.
Yeah, but the printer printed it. How do you know that department store people made the error? Maybe they did. Maybe they submitted that number. But in this case, clearly the college didn't give them your number, did they?
I hope not. Probably not. I'm sure not.
I think there are times when sometimes you got to wave the white flag. Now, I would wait a week or two. And it may be that they don't get enough phone calls worth talking about. Is it the general number? I don't want to mention the name of the college. You'll have everybody in your area calling you on the phone saying, hello, I heard you on the radio.
Anyway, I'll say hello and they'll say, hi, is this college? And I'll say, no, it isn't. And I asked them, where did you get this number? And they said, I got it from this directory. And they read me the number from the directory, which is my number.
First of all, I get hold of the directory. The next thing I do is I'd call the college and find out if this is a main number or a dormitory number or who knows what. It may be a number that gets very little action. In that case, it will be a minor inconvenience. On the other hand, it may be a number where they get 200 or 300 calls a day, and then your phone is going to be in a meltdown. Given the second situation, what are you going to do? You're going to have to have the phone disconnected and get a new number.
It's really difficult. I mean, we have relatives scattered, on 2 sides of the coast.
Well, in that case, you might want to talk to the people who published this book and say, listen, I want you to have printed a nice little note on linen that we can send out, and you're going to put postage stamps on each one of them from your meter, so we can notify all our friends, say 100 friends, that we have a new number.
But the only recourse I have is to change my number.
Well, you tell me.
I don't see any way out either.
You're stuck with a number. The books are out there. I mean, even if they can get down on their knees and start throwing some kind of a dried incense at your feet, but that is not going to bring one directory back into the mill, is it?
No, but maybe for the future. If they correct it next time out.
Well, unfortunately, think about it.
Yeah.
There are tens of thousands of. Pardon me?
It's a year living with this.
But think about this. There are thousands and thousands and thousands of telephone numbers in a directory. All you do is transpose one to cause that individual grief. See, I want to know, for example, how close your number is to their number. You don't know. The answer is you don't know.
I don't know. But I don't even know if we're in the same area code.
Well, I don't know that either. That may be part of the that may be the problem, that the dummies calling are not using the right area code. That happened to me some years ago in a business I owned. The R number, and then a couple of zeros, was the same as the number for one of these telethons, only in a different state. But of course, we were in the tri-state area. Every time they were out there, hacking for money, our phone jumped off the hook because the fools couldn't remember that you supposed to dial an area code for the other state.
Mm-hmm.
But that didn't help our business any, you see. It may be, you may have put your finger on it, maybe a different area code.
I will check with the
check out the credentials. First of all, call the school. Find out what number it is. I
advise the people who call, I said, just check with the directory. You're better off.
Sweetheart, that ain't going to help you.
I know.
It might be a lot easier for you to get it may be that number they put in the book is not the school's number at all. You see?
Yeah.
Then the school's going to want your number assigned to them so they don't miss all their calls.
Oh, I sure hope not. This has been my number for 12 years.
Sweet. Does it really matter?
Yeah, it does.
You can have my telephone numbers tomorrow. What the hell? Let me tell you something. How old are you, love?
I'm in my 40s.
All right. In your life, you're going to come to a lot of good things, a lot of grief. On a scale of 1 to 200, this shouldn't even make the list. It's a minor aggravation.
Just for some routine maintenance.
Yeah. And
I never heard anything from them. They were supposedly going to fix it and call me when they were through. Well, I called them today because it's been about a week.
Hold. Your car has been there for a week and you didn't even bother calling?
Well, yeah, I'm a little lazy about this.
You're a very patient lady, boy.
Admittedly.
All right. Is this a new car?
4 years old.
All right. You just let it lay there for a week and nothing's happening.
Right, exactly. I commute with other people to work, so it doesn't make that much difference.
You are laid back. I mean, you give new definition. Go ahead.
So anyway, I called them today to see if it was ready to go, and I heard that they closed the garage door on the roof of my car.
Uh-huh. How nice.
It supposedly crushed the roof. The guy said it was not a pretty sight at all. Anyway, I have an answering machine. They made no attempt to call me, and I'm a little worried that they're just going to fix it haphazardly.
I can't help you there. You go down and talk to him. Have you gone down and talked to him?
I just found out about this today.
Well, what time today?
About 5 o'clock.
And you're really late. You didn't go down and see him at that point?
No. I thought they'd be closed,
well,
really.
Tomorrow morning, go talk to him.
Supposedly it's almost fixed at this point.
Well, still go talk to him. I mean, all you can do, there's no point in borrowing problems. They may fix it, letter perfect, and that's the end of it. If they don't, then you're going to be going back and forth with them until they do.
My question is, I guess, how will I know? Since everything will be enclosed and all the pretty outside trim.
Well, my dear, if it's walking like a duck and quacks like a duck and it has feathers, it's probably a duck. If it works properly, the doors aren't. One of the things you might affect depending on where in the roof it hit. Is it 2 or 4 door?
The 4 door.
Well, it's probably going to affect the doors too.
Yeah, I would think so.
Well, if it works fine and it looks good, what more do you want?
Would you drive it out of the dealer automatically, or would you look it over really, really well?
No, ma'am, I'd look it over. Please. What would I do? I'd look it over.
Yeah.
Suppose the car was injured in an automobile accident. Forget about the dealer doing it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Would you just jump into the car and drive away, or would you look it over closely?
I guess I'd look it over.
Well, what's different here? Only difference is you're not going to pay for it, that's all.
Yeah.
And furthermore, what did you have the car in for?
It was a tie rod in the front and a tune-up.
I wouldn't pay for that either.
You wouldn't?
No, ma'am. I'd say, hey, you guys have my car for an extra 6 or 7 days. You put me through this. I think the mechanical work ought to be on you.
Oh, that would be great.
Well, that's what I'd put to him.
Okay. All right.
Good luck, sweetheart.
Thank you very much.
But yes, look it over with a fine-tooth comb. Honolulu, Hawaii. Hello there.
Hey, good evening, Bruce.
Aloha.
It's actually good afternoon for us. We hear your show a day later, so I got the information from KG Radio, AM Radio, and they told me to call you at this time in the afternoon.
There you go. Anywhere in the country, you can call me from 7 to 10 Eastern.
Okay, well, that's good to know. I'm a long-time listener, first-time caller, and this is an interesting deal that just came up, and I was wondering what you think of it being an objective person outside of the family.
Let's talk.
Okay. We're fortunate enough, my wife and myself, to own a property here in Hawaii, and as you know, the last 4 years, if you know anything about Hawaii real estate, it's really taken off. We've made a excellent investment, and our property value has skyrocketed to almost
Keep an
3
eye on
times the original value. I know it's leveling off right now with the Persian Gulf thing and the investors getting sticky with their money, but the property values really haven't come down.
Yeah, but let me just point something out to you.
Mm-hmm.
They can come down like an elevator out of control.
Elevator out of control.
They
Yeah,
can.
well, hopefully that won't be the case.
Well,
but anyway, let me tell you the story.
Well, what did you pay for this house, though?
We paid $96,600,
And now it's
that
worth
was in
300?
1986.
And it's worth $300 today?
No, about 225,250.
Okay.
My neighbor still got 225 last month. My other neighbor's selling his for 225 this month, but mine is better than both theirs, so I think I could probably get 225, maybe to 250 if I'm lucky. You know?
Terrific. Okay, go ahead.
But anyway, okay, the same thing happened to my mother and father-in-law. They bought a house, a fee simple home, a large home, up on the northern side of Oahu, and their prices skyrocketed up there also too. So where they originally bought their house for like $140, and their house is now about $350,000 in equity. That's what the houses are selling around them. Now here's the question. We went out house shopping, myself and my wife. We want to get a newer house, a larger house, because right now the house that we have is a townhouse. Like I said, it's got 2 bedrooms and a 2 bath, or actually a 1 1/4 bath. But we want, thinking about maybe having a child down the road. And my mother and father-in-law, they have a nice large house. It's big enough for them, but they want to move up to something a little bit better. Their house is beautiful, but there's always something better, and you want to take that step up while you get the chance, or it may never come again. They're on a fixed income. They're retired. My wife and myself, we have 2 good jobs, and we make good money. Not rich or anything, but we, live fairly well in Hawaii, which is,
How much do you earn?
My wife and myself, we make about, combined income, we make about $56,000 a year.
Go ahead.
And, well, basically, here's the question. We went out shopping not too long ago for a house, another house, and we found this beautiful house in this new development in this other town, right? And the price of this house is $500,000. And that sounds like a lot of money.
It is a lot of money.
Mm-hmm. But the property values in Hawaii, if you buy from the developer, I've been here since '84. The prices have never gone down. They usually go up.
Hold it. Let me explain something to you. How old are you, son?
I'm 26 years old.
Yeah, well, you got a lot to learn, baby.
Mm-hmm.
Because the same stuff you're telling me right now, okay?
Mm-hmm.
You could have told me if you lived in Boston 2 years ago.
Yeah, I see.
And prices have gone down 40 and 50% in 2 years. How would you like that to happen to you?
I wouldn't, but I don't think...
Oh, baloney.
The location of Hawaii and
honey,
Boston...
I got news for you, pal. The location of Hawaii has nothing to do with it.
Mm-hmm.
Economics are economics. Now, you don't want to hear that. But I'm telling you the hard facts of life.
Good news.
Well,
yeah.
but the bad news is that, you see, you've lived... You're only a kid, and I don't mean that pejoratively. You are. And you've gone through a period of prosperity, God bless.
Mm-hmm.
But if you believe, and right now there are hundreds of thousands of people nodding their head right now. If you believe that real estate can only go one way in Honolulu, are you in for one hell of a shock?
Mm-hmm.
If you buy a $500,000 house,
mm-hmm.
even with your parents signing for it, you are certified.
No, that's not the question was
certifiable.
The house is big enough. We wanted to sell both our properties, right?
How much you said they're retired. How much is their retirement income?
They make about $2,000 a month.
If you guys go into a $500,000 house combined, on a combined income, right? Of 75 grand or 80 grand, you ought to be locked up.
We're going to lock up?
You ought to be locked up because you need a keeper.
Well, check this out. This is the way I figured it, Bruce. Tell me if you think it's good.
Go for it.
I've done the logic here, but
okay, I want to hear. I'm delighted to hear. Tell you what, can I catch up on some obligations so we can start with a clean blackboard?
Oh, sure. You have to earn your money.
You bet your life. You hang on a minute, and I'm not picking on you. I just hate to see you have been very lucky. You've made a ton of money, right?
I don't feel rich, but I'm house rich.
I'm talking. What I'm talking about, though, my friend, is there are millions of people in this country who are in the same position you're in now 2 years ago
mm-hmm.
that have a negative interest in their home. They've lost that much in a couple of years. And let me tell you, it could happen in Hawaii just as quick as Boston or quick as any place else.
Mm-hmm.
Stick around. I'm Bruce Williams. What do you think caused the savings and loan problem, kid? Let's just talk that. I'm picking on a young fellow from Honolulu, Hawaii, and I'm sure he doesn't like that very much, but that's okay because he's young. He has been very fortunate, and on the real estate boom, his house has gone up 125 to 150 grand in 4 years. Or put another way, all right? That house has gone up almost as much as you earn.
More than that, sir.
A year. Sure.
Well,
that's all very well.
Right. This is just thinking now. There's a lot of things, I read the papers in Hawaii, and I'm not sure if you do and everything.
Doesn't matter.
But there is a housing shortage over here.
Doesn't matter.
There's more people in houses, but okay.
Doesn't matter.
Okay, I know it can still fall. Anything can happen.
Oh, it has. Yes, people have been around Hawaii for 30, 40 years. What's happened has been cyclical.
Yeah. Well,
and you don't have the staying power. Not you and your mother and father-in-law together.
Well, Bruce, I'll go into it a little bit further.
What you're going to tell me is you got $100,000 equity in your house, and they get $150 in their house, right?
They get about 300,000 equity.
Equity?
Yeah.
They're going to put it all into the house?
No.
Oh,
this is what we were going to do. Here's the master plan.
Go ahead.
Okay, when I originally bought my first home, I had a loan for $96,600.
Right. You bought it with no money down, effectively.
Yeah, I put $4,800 down. That's all I had to come up with.
Right.
Okay, it was a brand new house, right? Okay, I bought the home, and my mortgage payment's been $812 a month.
Yep.
And then with the maintenance and association fees, it comes out to about $1,000 a month.
Okay, fine.
Me and my wife been swinging that easily.
That's about right. 25% of your income.
Right. My mother and my father-in-law, their house was about $180,000, and they put down all but I think they put $160,000, either $150,000
so
or $160,000.
They bought it for all intents and purposes cash. Go ahead.
Right. Yeah, they made a small loan, but pretty much cash.
Go ahead. Let's continue.
Okay. This new house is a lot bigger than both of our houses. I think the square footage to you in the mainland, it might not be very big, but it's almost like 4,000 square feet.
That's a big house anywhere.
Right? And it's a real beautiful house. And the thing about it is, at $500,000, this is what we were figuring. My mom and dad would put about $200,000 into the property, right? Okay, and they keep $100,000 in the bank to help that and put that in certificates of
all right, whatever.
Mutual funds.
Forget about
earn a little bit of income.
All right, go ahead.
They're on fixed income.
Go ahead.
And then we would take the 110, 125, maybe we could get from our property.
So you have $300,000 down, a little more.
Right.
Go ahead.
And I'd have to borrow $200,000 from the bank. But my position now, financially, as far as what I'm earning, now true inflation's gone up a little bit, probably since 1986. But it's a little bit. I make quite a bit more money than I did back then. I don't
quickly.
have to
Where are we going with all this?
Well, anyway, I was thinking, would I qualify for a loan? Walking into
just in your name, not
no,
your
this is another. I got to get it further into it. Just me and my father-in-law's name and purchasing this house.
How much? Their income is you got $75,000. You want to get a $200,000 mortgage? Is that what you're telling me?
Yeah.
Probably not. You're very close, but here's the problem. I only got a minute.
All right.
I'm going to rain like crazy. I'm going to thunderstorm on your parade.
Okay, go ahead.
Number one. You've done very well, and I salute that, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Secondly, somebody said Buckingham Palace isn't big enough for two families, and I happen to agree with that, which is a whole other matter, no matter how well you guys get along.
Yeah, we took that
Hold it. Thirdly, there is nothing whatever to persuade me. Now, it may go up in value, maybe worth $1 million 2 years from now.
No, we're not.
But there's nothing that persuades me that it can't go down $200,000.
Could happen.
Which means your equity is totally wiped out. Totally wiped out.
But either way, if we buy this new property, sir, and our equity goes down, it goes down and for our other properties also.
That may be, but not proportionately, not necessarily. And you see, I just think that you're biting off way more than you can chew. And furthermore, and then finally, I guess, your combined incomes, right, are something like $75,000. You're tying 500 and some odd thousand, no matter if it's cash or whatever, up in a dwelling. That's just way out of proportion. I think it's a very bad move, but more important, one where you could get stoned. Just walk very softly. I do wish you well. I'm Bruce Wiggins. This is Talknet. 1070 WIBC. Now, my previous caller is a young fellow. I felt for him. Sure, it looks like Hawaii is different. Boston was different. Texas was different. Nothing's different. Things go up, things go down. Why in the world are we having a real estate problem? Why are we having a savings and loan problem? Because real estate that couldn't go down did. Simple as that. Holy-Ann, New York, your turn.
Yes, hello, Bruce. Thanks for taking my call.
You're very welcome.
My wife suggested that I call Bruce tonight, so I did.
Son of a gun.
This is our situation. Bought a house a year ago. money was put into an escrow, provided that the septic system would pass. It didn't pass.
Well, wait a while. You bought it before you had the septic system passed?
Right. It was an estate, and it was contingent for the bank that 30 days after we occupied the house, they would then test it because it was empty before we moved in.
Yeah, and what happens if it flunks?
Money was put into an escrow.
To accomplish what?
Fixing the septic in the event that it didn't pass.
Okay, so I take it must not have passed or we wouldn't be talking.
Right, it didn't pass,
Yeah.
and an extension was granted from...
Extension on what?
On our the escrow. They gave us 60 days. And the seller...
Okay, well, hold on. You mean maybe I'm missing something. You say the seller put money in escrow, right? Not you.
Correct.
Okay, there's money there in case it doesn't work, so go ahead.
Right. The weather was bad, they couldn't test it. The ground was there was snow. So they extended it. We got a letter from the mortgage company, they extended it a year, February 1991.
Oh, wait a minute. The seller, what's the mortgage company got to do with this? How about the guy whose money is sitting there in escrow?
Right. We understand that.
Did he say it was okay?
They said it was okay.
Oh, all right. How much money is in escrow?
$4,500.
Whew. Go ahead.
And that was with the mortgage company. We got it through FHA. HUD come along and said, nope, they no go. They're not going to extend it, and they applied the money towards our principal. Put it right towards.
Well, who was holding the money?
The bank that we got.
Well, why did you have a lawyer when you bought this house?
Yes, we did.
Then why in the world wasn't it in your lawyer's escrow account, not the bank's escrow account?
I don't know.
I don't know either.
I don't know.
So they just took the money and lowered your principal.
Yeah.
And now the septic tank doesn't work, or does it work? What difference does it make? How did they declare that money forfeit? How about the guy who put the money up? Where is he in this whole thing?
Well, they're starting litigation, and we want the septic fixed, and so do they.
And they want their money, I suppose.
Right. They got a bid that was less than what was put into escrow.
Sure.
And now we don't want litigation. We're trying to get that money because we have a letter stating that it was.
What does the bank say?
I called the bank, the director of the mortgage company, and he says there's nothing they can do. Because HUD was very strict, and they cannot reinstate the escrow or anything. So
I don't understand how HUD could just take the money from escrow, which all it means is parked someplace for a specific purpose.
Right.
How they can apply that to principal unilaterally is unless that was the agreement in advance. Have you talked to the attorney who represented you in this matter?
Yes.
What does he say?
He got a letter and says that, made up a letter and said that people that sold the house have somebody to repair the septic.
Yeah.
There's no money in escrow to do that now.
Yeah.
They're going to go after us, but I'm wondering if they shouldn't go after HUD and the bank. Why did they go after us?
Well, first of all, ultimately you're the beneficiary, but the fact is you wanted to borrow that money to buy the house.
Right.
And why in the world? And you probably paid points for the mortgage too.
No, there were no points.
No points?
Involved.
How'd you do that?
Right place at the right time, I guess.
Well, I guess. Well, the point is, I don't see how they had a right to do that unless there was something in that agreement that if nothing happens within so many days, they get to apply it to the mortgage.
Well, Bruce.
So I would dump it right in my attorney's paws. That's what he gets paid for.
I did do that. And he wrote a letter to.
No, that's fine. What else have you done besides write a letter?
I'm wondering if we shouldn't get another attorney because I'm not too happy with this.
Well, that's another matter. But you see, it seems to me it's his responsibility. But you see, there's too many gaps here, and I got a feeling you can't fill in those gaps. I don't understand why the bank was holding the escrow money as opposed to customarily I would want it in my attorney's escrow account.
He didn't let us know that.
Well, but I mean, maybe there's a reason that HUD required it. I don't know. That's why I said too many gaps. I think at this point, all you can do is either use this or another attorney. My inclination would be to use this guy since he was in from the get-go.
Stick with him.
Well, unless you're totally disenchanted with him, my inclination, because it's going to cost you to bring an outside guy.
know, that's the whole thing. It's going to be as much as the septic system if we do that, and we don't want to.
Well, that's why I wouldn't do that. That's exactly right. But I don't see how they can dip into the escrow account and apply the funds to another purpose other than the one that the money was put for. That's why your attorney is the guy to handle this. And again, there may be some legitimate reason why the lender held the monies as opposed to either the seller's attorney or your attorney. But I don't think it should have been in the bank's escrow account. But that's another program. I do wish you well, my friend. I'm Bruce Wiggins. This is Talknet. Duluth, Minnesota. Hello there.
Hello there, Bruce.
How are you, kid?
I'm doing just great, and I hear you a lot on our WEBC here in Duluth.
Yes, indeed. What's on your mind?
Well, last summer I had had my old 14-year-old driveway redone with asphalt.
When you say redone, do you mean capped or just sealed or what?
Well, no cap.
Okay.
Cap. They had a few spots that were a little high due to gosh knows what, rocks or tree stumps or whatever.
Sure.
So they dug up a couple of these spots. I have a contract. I'm looking at it. This was let on July the 24th for $1,695.
Mm-hmm.
Let me read to you a portion of a letter that I sent to them today.
How long is this letter?
This letter, it'll take you less than a minute.
All right, go ahead.
Well, anyway, enclosed is a check for $500 as partial payment for installation of my driveway. Represents about 1/3 of the amount we allegedly owe you. The original contract was let in July. Your representative told me the job would be done in about 2 weeks. It took 2 months before they got here. Then on the day of the job, the crew mistakenly dumped a load of asphalt in the driveway up the street. This didn't affect me, but it but it does serve to illustrate the crew's inefficiency. When the job was done, it was evident to even the casual observer that the lower 2/3 of this U-shaped driveway was poorly finished. I was told the crew, who readily acknowledged the problem, would be back soon to correct the situation. Weeks went by. Several attempts were made to get your representative back here. Meantime, I stopped at your office and got a promise from you that it would be taken care of immediately. Finally, last Monday, your representative stopped by, looked over the driveway, acknowledged several defects, saying he would contact me the next day.
Hold on.
Still waiting.
Okay. This is a little too long. Go ahead.
All right.
Just tell me what's
enough. Now, the point is, out of this $1,695, I paid him $170 down. I sent him a check for an additional $500. Now they come along and say, if you want your driveway fixed right, it's going to cost you another $900 over and above the original contract.
Why? On what basis?
Well, they say that for some reason or other, the weather was bad, or we didn't know that...
No, wait a minute. You got to be specific, not or. Either what did they say very specifically?
They just said that in order to correct the problem, it would cost them another $900.
And for what reason? They gave you a price. Why can they not deliver what they said they were going to deliver for that price?
I really cannot answer that, except that they claim that the roadbed was too soft, or there's just some problems which I really don't understand. I'm not a driveway engineer.
No, there's no reason why you should be expected to be an engineer.
And when they told me it would cost me another $900, I said, I tell you what, to save a lot of problems, they would come back and lay this another 1.5 inches of blacktop. And I said, well, I'm not sure that I want that, but I tell you what, I'll go along with it, and I'll pay you another $450. I'll split the difference with you.
Over and above the original price?
Over and above the original contract. And they said, no, we can't sit still for that, but I tell you what, we'll do it. We'll do it for $700. And I said, I'm stretching it as it is to pay you another $450.
You're a very generous guy. I wouldn't have paid another nickel.
That's the way I really feel